Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox has the story.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox writes at PJ Media.
Eat Tucker.
And that was your last.
Damn it, man. I cried for 2 days.
Megan, thank you very much for that.
So, I can explain the bed thing.
If you don't show up and vote, up your ass. I don't care if you're in the hospital. Crawl to the stake. Crawl there.
It's like Jesus going into the temple. He's like, I got a whip. Get out! Get out! The lovely and wonderful Megan Fox. Not that one.
Not that one. Not the weird one that drinks blood in his toe thumb.
Megan Fox.
Megan. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
She's the devil.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You've never met a like me. You want to tangle? You want to go? Holy sh!
Too much cussing on this. I guess we didn't bleep it, so we got to turn it off. But it's
You pissed off the wrong woman.
oh my God, I have been assaulted, but Megan Fox runs wild on you, brother.
She's the devil.
Not for publication.
The story.
I'm Megan Fox. Thank you. Cheers.
And it's a good morning. It is, or afternoon, and I forgot to take the John Shopkins meme off the page, but look at how funny it is. Thank you, locals. MeganFox.locals.com. If you want excellent memes like that, that's where you need to go. Folks, today is a day. I didn't sleep last night. I tried, but I didn't sleep. I slept 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I was up until, and you can check my Twitter feed to verify this, because I was up until at least 3:50 a.m., possibly 4, rage tweeting at someone called Julie Grant. Now, I don't know if you know who Julie Grant is. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't know who Julie Grant was. But Julie Grant is the latest iteration, the latest specter, if you will, of a person you might remember by the name of Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz, back in the Johnny Depp trial, went on an all-out rampage against YouTube streamers, law-tubers who were covering the Johnny Depp trial in depth. Her and her little minion friend, Kat something. What was her name? What was the one at NBC? I don't even remember her. The one with the weird blonde streaks in her hair. I think she did ASMR on the side. Do you remember the Kat? What was Kat's last name? I wrote articles about her. And I'm going to have to write articles about Julie Grant, too. So Julie Grant, Cat Turd. Yeah, let's just call her Cat Turd. Yeah, that works. She works at NBC. So the thing about these 10 barge, Cat 10 barge. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. See how I've forgotten these I've forgotten these women. They're so inconsequential, I forget their names. But they went on an all-out assault using their status in the mainstream media to try to take down Tug, that umbrella guy, and I think the quartering and all kinds of, they went after everybody. They went after Nick Rekieta. They went after anybody who was anybody in the law tube sphere for making money on streaming trials. But of course, they don't go after themselves for making money. They don't go after NBC for making money streaming trials. They don't go after Court TV for streaming trials. They don't go after Law and Crime for making bazillions of dollars streaming trials. No, no, no. They just go after us because we give them competition. Yeah, we do. And that's what it's really about. This is what this animosity is really about, is that we don't allow them to have their narrative anymore without being challenged. Now, if you want to know who Julie Grant is, she's this miserable bitch over at Court TV that I spent hours last night rage tweeting against because this is the kind of shit she has been doing to Maya Kowalski. Let's pull this up on the screen. This is my Twitter account. I'm freezing again. All right, this is Julie Grant. Here she is. Watching this live, I'm seeing a very different tone from Maya Kowalski on rebuttal. Her answers seem very rehearsed to me. What do you think? I'm curious. Oh, are you curious though? This is the same day, I will have you know, that this woman heard that Johns Hopkins were in jeopardy of immediate jeopardy from the IJ report, from the Joint Commission report. Same day she found out that the defense hid evidence from the plaintiff and tried to lie to the jury that everything was hunky-dory. This is what Court TV is writing about. And she's also, I love Nicholas Starrow here says, I think you're clickbaiting. No shit. Absolutely. And look at the comments. Not watching, but what I have seen from Court TV reports is an extremely rehearsed girl with loads of imprinted memories from other folks telling her what happened. My response, I stopped reading after not watching. You're not watching. If you were watching, if the assholes at Court TV were actually watching this trial, they would know that the story of the day was this report right here. It wasn't what Maya was wearing to homecoming. Hey, dumb fuckers over at Court TV. That wasn't the story. These motherfuckers are not real. TMFNR. This was the story. All the deficiencies at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital that they got busted on yesterday. The surgeons weren't washing their hands. They're killing kids over at Johns Hopkins. But Julie wants you to concentrate on what Maya was wearing to homecoming and whether or not she sounded rehearsed. TMFINR. That's right. These motherfuckers are not real. I think I'm only 8 minutes into this. YouTube is for sure going to demonetize this. Speaking of demonetization, please make sure that you can send me super chats now. But if you don't want to give your money to that dirty Google and get their dirty, evil hands on your money, and you want to just send it right to me to support the show and help me buy a new computer, because I've decided I'm going to get one of those fancy gaming things for streaming. That's what I'm going to do. And I gave my daughter because she's she's not a Zoomer. She's a Generation Alpha, I guess. I guess that's what they're calling them now. We've gone all the way through the alphabet. We're back to A. Anyway, I've given her the responsibility of finding me the type of computer I need. But that is going to be coming soon. So I'm starting to raise money for a new computer so we don't have this constant freezing and rebooting and all of this crap. It's going to be tough around Christmas time, though, because kids got to have their plastic shit from China. All right. Just so you know, rolling across the bottom of the screen, if you want to support the show and you don't want to give Google your money, you can send me a tip on Cash App, on Venmo, or PayPal, and all of the addresses are going across the bottom of the screen. That reminds me, I need to get to yesterday's Cash Apps and Venmos that I missed. Joby, thank you so much for the $45 Cash App yesterday. Joby said, so glad you're back tonight. So confused about what happened yesterday. Well, if you guys are still confused, I'm going over more of it today. We're going to have a recap. Court is now out of session. Jury instructions this morning. We're going to go over a couple of highlights from what happened there. There was a strange Hitler defense, which I can't wait to get to. My cat's an a-hole. Thank you for sending me the Cash App, $20 Cash App for the love of Hare Island. That was yesterday that I missed. Thank you so much for that. And I believe there was a Venmo that I missed as well. Yes, Kim. From Kimmy, computer is asshole fund. Get that thing checked out before the warranty expires. We appreciate the passion you bring in covering the fuckery that is this case. Well, I appreciate you too, Kimmy, and all of you in the chat. And I haven't said thank you recently to the mods. Thank you, mods. You have done an amazing job. Thank you for keeping the chat a safe space for medium smartasses like us. We believe here in free speech. I ask that you respect the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and say whatever the hell you want, as long as it doesn't get us in trouble with YouTube. So the words you can't use, like grapists and self-deletion, you know how to make it work. That's all I ask. I don't ask you to do anything else other than that. Be yourselves, your hilarious selves. Where do we send to raise funds for new PC? I'm just going to say keep on. I would prefer Venmo or Cash App or PayPal, which are the ones rolling across the bottom of the screen, because Google is going to take they take the super chats. They take a big percentage of them. So let's not do that. Wait, there are kids younger than Zoomers? Just bury me already. Yep, there sure are. Palmyra Productions, congratulations on being a member for 3 months. It's your 3-month anniversary. Tell the ladies in the office I said, hey. Hopefully they're watching me right now. All right. Yeah, Megan's computer is huge, asshole. This is correct. Yes. Duncan, Idaho. Just curious. LOL, Julie. Yeah, she's real curious, isn't she? She's not curious. She's made up her mind. So let's go over to my profile and see how I was trolling Julie last night. I'm waiting for her to block me, by the way. She hasn't done it yet. I said, I'm saving this for when she deletes everything. Look at what she wrote. I wrote this. Court TV should be ashamed of this. Apparently, their reporterette knows more about CRPS than specialists who studied it for decades because she has Googles via the internets. Look what she said here when people started saying to her, I don't think you know what you're talking about. She said, you're assuming that I haven't done my research. I'm sorry, she needs more vocal fry. You're assuming that I haven't done my research, but I have. I'm not convinced that she has CRPS. Neither is everyone at Johns Hopkins. We all don't have to agree. Wish you well. My response to her was, did you research that Joint Commission report yet where J Hatch killed and injured a bunch of kids and their surgeons don't wash their hands? Or are you too busy digging through one of their victims' Instagram pages? I trolled her all night. And now I'm going to write an article about her. Just like I did to Hitl3r and just like I did to Kat Tenbarge. And when people Google their names, they're going to come up with my snarky ass articles. How does it feel? How does it feel, Julie, to be on the receiving end of a hostile press? How does it feel? Because I feel hostile today, and I'm feeling it toward you because I think you're a bitch. Get wrecked, Julie. I think you haven't even watched this trial. That's what I think. I think when you say that you watched the trial, what you mean is you did what they did at NBC and Kat Tenbarge did, and you watched an hour. And then you went to your little computer and you typed up the narrative that your news organization wanted you to type up. I don't think you sat in court with us for 6 hours yesterday. You didn't sit in court with us for 8 hours on Tuesday. You didn't sit there. You weren't here. You weren't watching this. We were, because if you had been and you reported to your editor what happened in court yesterday, your editor would have fired you for trying to write this shit instead. Yeah, I woke up and chose hostility today. You want to hear how my article's going? Should I start reading you my article? Here we go. Court TV attacks Maya Kowalski for daring to try to live her life as a normal teenager despite chronic pain syndrome. We've seen the media abuse teenagers and abuse victims before. CNN lost several hundred million dollar defamation suit to Nicholas Sandmann when they defamed him in print and on television for smiling in a MAGA hat. The entire media attack machine slandered and defamed Kyle Rittenhouse, who defended himself with deadly force against a convicted pedophile who was trying to kill him, along with other miscreants, with constant cries of, "He crossed state lines," which turned out to be a moot point, according to the law. The media often doesn't stop at defaming children. They like to defame adult abuse victims too, like Johnny Depp. Court TV and Law and Crime were two of the biggest offenders that carried water for Amber Heard and would not report what actually happened in court to their viewers. Many court reporters only report the stories they want the audience to hear and push the narrative the mainstream press wants pushed instead of what actually happened in court. It's happening again. In the Kowalski versus Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital civil suit, where 17-year-old Maya Kowalski and her family are suing the hospital for their role in medically kidnapping her when she was 10. The family says the J-Hatch drove Maya's mom, Beata, to suicide. Not only that, but Maya testified to suffering unbelievable abuse at the hands of nurses, doctors, and social worker Kathy Beatty, who has a previous arrest record for child abuse. For the background on this complicated case, read my coverage at PJ Media. The heart of the case revolves around the rare pain disorder called chronic regional pain syndrome, CRPS, which Maya was diagnosed with by more than 4 CRPS specialists. But when those specialists ordered controversial ketamine treatments for her pain, J-Hatch doctors disagreed and pointed the loaded gun of the state at her mother, Beata, accusing her of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And that's when I had to go live, so I haven't finished this article, but perhaps as we continue, I will add some nuggets in here that I want to say to Julie. Let's see. Now, I'm on a roll. I might as well continue. Now, Court TV's Julie, what's her name? What's her last name? Grant. Ugh. Julie Grant. Court TV's Julie Grant has smeared Maya for going to homecoming. I can't even. Edit chronic to complex. Oh, did I say chronic? Yeah, okay, hold on. Complex. There we go. Has smeared Maya from going to homecoming and celebrating Halloween. Yeah, look, it's the First Amendment Live. Sometimes I do Megan Takes the Chat to Work Day, and that's today. That's today. I'm so ragey that I have to get this out right now. I'm raging about this, and it must end. All right, I've missed some super chats, I see. Oh, I missed a couple super chats on Rumble yesterday, too. Slidey, I saw your super chats. Thank you so much. It was a couple of $2 super chats for the poor bucket. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are not the redheaded stepchildren. It's just that I have trouble switching screens when I'm streaming because of the stupid computer. When I get my new computer, I am going to have 2 monitors, and we will not have this problem anymore. Maybe 3 monitors. I want to set up like Judge Carroll has. Oh, by the way, you guys, there's a new thing on StreamYard that I want to try, and I need you guys to remind me though. So here's the new feature on StreamYard is that when I am in when I'm streaming, I can now hit a key, the key of G on my computer, and it's supposed to like put a timestamp in the StreamYard recording so that I can go back and make so I can go and make like clips. So if something is rant or like clip worthy, like a rant or something, I would like the chat to type G in the chat to remind me to do it. That would be great. So hit the G spot for me, would you? Can you do that? Oh, thanks for the criticism, Jen Ferguson. The intro is way too long, she says. We've had this conversation before, chat. The chat's just going to have to really figure it out, okay? The chat's going to have to tell her how it works here. Okay, I'm going to have to take a break from raging in this article because I am bringing in a guest to the show. I saw a video yesterday from a fellow YouTuber about this very issue that I am rage writing about right now. Mo in the Deep End, welcome to the program. Mo in the Deep End has a channel. She suffers from CRPS, and you are as enraged about this situation with Court TV and the media as I am. Welcome.
Yes, I personally hate fighting on Twitter. I think it is the dumbest waste of time ever. I may have called Court TV tea waffles. I did apologize. I don't know if they're really tea
No, don't
waffles.
apologize, for God's sake.
Well,
Also,
I don't
you
know if
said
they
that maybe
are in real life.
you said maybe Julie Grant got her medical degree at the University of Guam. I think you're probably right. That I don't think there's anything wrong with this. See, this is a safe place for ridicule, though, Mo.
Oh, okay.
We believe in
Well,
ridicule here.
look, Steve Gosney is the good Christian. I'm the one that's just aiming for purgatory. Look, I'm a recovering Catholic. I'm on the 13th step. I'm just hoping that someone takes me in somewhere.
I really think that twat waffles should be their new. Somebody in locals get on that meme. We need a Johns Shopkins twat waffles, or sorry, Court TV twat waffles. Well, they're all twat waffles, really.
They are also cunt cannolis or bitch burritos, whichever you want to do.
Whichever you want to do. Locals, can you get on that in the meme department? We're gonna need some memes on that. We believe Jesus will take you in. Yeah, we have no dumpster Jesus will not stand for any of this. What's going on?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
I
trying to
have
explain to people why I'm so angry about Julie Grant, and I'm having a hard time explaining it because I have so many things to say that like the words are getting in the way. But let's just start with what we saw. I saw it first in the New York Post. They're dragging Maya for going to homecoming and wearing a short skirt and going out for Halloween. But then I find out it actually originated at Court TV. So you can't really blame the New York Post. They're just picking up a story that they see out there that's getting clicks.
I saw it on Twitter and I was like, for the love of all that is freaking holy, this girl has lost. First of all, I got CRPS last year. I broke my ankle. It was a walking drive-by deer attack. Look,
Oh,
deer
no.
are hateful. I will go
They're
ahead and
terrible.
say it.
They're less
But
than medium smart for sure. They just
yes.
jump right into your
Well,
car. It's
yeah, to be fair, it startled me and I'm not the most graceful person and fell into a ditch. So it could be 50-50, but I'm blaming the deer.
sure. I
But
believe blame the deer.
she has handled this with such grace and awesomeness and just bravery, and it's a quiet, dignified bravery that I haven't even been able to handle this with. And she's not allowed to go out and have fun. I mean, the performative suffering that these people want her to do, it just it blew my mind, and it struck a nerve so bad with me because chronic pain sufferers will paste a smile on. I'll be god danged if I'm not gonna go to my kids', weddings, graduations, my grandchildren's births, mid-flare, I don't care. Will I be in a heck of a lot of pain? I will slap a smile on because that is what we do as parents, what we do, you know, Maya got up and started walking and everything so she could go up there and double deuces to Johns Hopkins and take this fight to them.
Yep.
But she can't go out and go to a
Her
prom, like,
homecoming.
how
Homecoming.
or
It was
homecoming,
that's
sorry.
once a year. It's
Yeah,
once a year.
and I have 3 I have 6 children.
Oh,
Look,
do
I
you?
have gone
6
yeah,
kids. Look at you go,
I
saving the
have
world
gone
one
to
kid at a
the
time.
look, we can have a whole other conversation where I continually ask if I can buy an entire dress for homecoming.
Yeah. Me
I was
too.
like, "Can
Me
we
too.
go to the
I'm so with
Amish
you.
can we
I'm
go
so
to
with
the
you.
Amish section?" Like,
Yeah.
you know,
But there's
like
nothing unusual about what Maya was wearing. As me as a mom
no.
and you as a mom, we don't want
Yeah.
to put our daughters in those dresses. They're all wearing them.
Th
Now, I
they're all
won't let my daughters wear them. I would rather pay $300 for a dress from Macy's that has more fabric that like goes down to their knees, and I have. That's what I do. But
yeah,
when you're talking about what people can afford and what the kids are wearing, it is very hard to find a modest looking dress for
yeah.
homecoming or
Well,
prom. It
that's
is
what I said,
impossible.
I was like, "You guys, look, because of my CRPS, I can no longer wear leggings and I have to cosplay as a Pentecostal. I have the long skirt, which
I
makes
hear
it
ya.
fun to go into liquor stores, believe me, I tickle myself pink all the
Cosplay.
time.
I grew up as a Pentecostal. Do you know that? So I know this intimately. That's how I
So,
grew
yeah,
up.
I wear the, look, there is no universe where I don't have chub rub, the thigh I have no thigh gap. There's look, it's never so they have these modesty skirts, like these workout skirts,
Yeah.
and they work for me, so those are I buy them 2 sizes too big, but they're comfy for me. But if you notice in those pictures, at least the one where she's sitting in the limo, she is stiff. She is not
Mhm.
smiling. I can tell you from experience she is hurting, but how much does she need to give up? How much does she need to suffer in order for you to think it's valid, Miss, journalist
Oh,
from the
well,
news?
Julie's gonna make sure, Mo, that she does suffer because she's abusing her right now. She's dragging a 17-year-old sufferer with CRPS who's already been through hell, who lost her mother,
Yeah,
who was incarcerated away from her family. What more does she need to lose? Well, Julie Grant's going to tell you she needs to lose her reputation. Now the media is going to give her the anal probe. She's going to lose her reputation because Julie Grant, the thunder cunt at Court TV, is
yeah,
going after Maya Kowalski for going to goddamn homecoming and going out on Halloween. And I am sick of it. I've had it. I'm a mom. My
a
daughter's 17 years
17-year-old.
old.
Yeah, come after me.
Come
I'm
after
I'm
my
darn
kid.
near come after me. Well, okay, come after me. I'm at the age where I still demand that they card me. Look, I'm just saying, pretend that you need to card me, all right? When I buy
Right.
booze.
Just pretend.
Just look, it's a lie we both agree upon, just like my weight government on my ID. It's a lie we both agree on. But the fact that she's like, "I've done research." Dr. Gupta, the foremost expert on this, can tell you that they don't even understand what is happening. Look, my doctor right now, none of the doctors understand what the hell is going on with CRPS. They basically made it the I don't under fucking stand what's going on disease.
Yep.
It's called complex regional pain syndrome. They're like, it's complex and we have no idea. And
Right.
it affects the region.
Maybe, or it can also affect your whole body. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no real explanation for any of this.
a-
And
And
the thing is too, is that as a mom of a 17-year-old, maybe this is hitting me harder because I think, what would I do if the media came after my daughter like this
yeah,
and
I
was
have a
dragging her for
17-year-old
what
too.
she was wearing? And with it, like you're saying, with the skin sensitivity, what do they call that? Allodynia.
Allodynia.
With the allodynia, we know that Maya wears shorts all the time, so she probably can't even wear a long skirt if it was touching her legs. That would be even
It's
worse for her. And who
it's
cares?
not
Why are people judging
well,
her
and
for the same kind of
it's
dress that every single teenager at
it's
your high
every
school is
single
wearing?
teenager. Look, believe me, my middle daughter is famous for not shopping with me, and then I see her dress as she's leaving, and I'm like, excuse me?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Do we have a
I
jacket
gave
or
up.
leggings or"
I gave up on, crop tops because that's all they sell.
Oh,
I
yeah.
gave up. I totally
I
gave
was
up.
like,
I
"Do we
I
have a
spent,
full
like, a
t-shirt?
year. I spent a year going, can you put on a full shirt?
Do
Cover
we
your
have a full
belly."
shirt? Does
I gave
anyone"
up.
Yeah, believe me. I was like, "Is there an Amish section anywhere? Can we
Right?
convert?" So, but the thing is that and I can only speak for myself with my CRPS, allodynia, as all of the experts have said, is it's not an everyday thing. She could have been having a good day. Again, that was several days after she was having a very bad day.
Though
You
she
can have
says she was having a bad day and she cried and only went to homecoming for an hour. So,
Yeah,
I
maybe
why
she just wanted to suck it up
why
and
does she
not give up
have to
her life.
why does
Look,
she
I
have to
can
explain herself if she wants to go out for an hour because she didn't wanna sit in court all day? Let's talk about what these reports are actually trying to say, because the headline is Maya Kowalski caught partying when she told her counsel she was too sick to show up in court. Nah,
how
nah,
about
bruh.
she just didn't wanna relive every look, I tried to cover the trial. And because CRPS affects the parasympathetic nervous system, and I'll explain it like this. Your parasympathetic nervous system affects like you have your autonomic nervous system, which does your breathing and stuff like that. Now that you're thinking about your breathing, your parasympathetic nervous system is taking that over. So you're thinking about breathing, but generally you don't think about how you're breathing and things like that. But because it is linked to the parasympathetic nerves, if you're already having, say, my base level pain on a good day is a 5. If you do that little, like, 1 to 10,
Yep.
happy face, sad face, is a 5. It never goes down to 0 anymore. I don't ever
Mm,
have a 0 day. But 5 is a kind of you can get through it, it's just a 5. Now, when I'm having a bad day, it's a 10. It's a 10, and that's just what it is. Now, the problem with that is if you're at a 5 day and then something starts to stress you out, you're as Dr. Chopra was saying, thank you, Thor. Everyone needs a cat ass on camera.
awesome. Cat cam.
Um,
What a bonus.
well, I have a heating pad on my lap and they love it. But if you are already having that pain, if you already have that feedback system going, and then you are constantly, this has been what, 3, 4 weeks of constant stress, she is probably more likely having flares every other day. And
Mm,
she is not allowed to have, medicines that help. I
right. She's
guarantee
not
you
allowed
she
to
is,
have narcotics.
well,
She's not
okay.
allowed to have, benzos anymore, no ketamine
Yeah, so
anymore. She's
she
not allowed
is
to have any of that shit.
A and I know that in theory, the order was rescinded, so she can have it, but T, she is not going to ask for anything until she is 18 and is sure that she's not gonna get another parent stolen from her. She
Right.
lost her mother, regardless of what you think of Beata and how her attitude may have affected anything or how she was pushing. Her mother was traumatized, again, because no one would listen to the fact that this mother I was so lucky that I got my diagnosis early. She had to go through 18 months of hell trying to figure out what was wrong with her daughter. And then these asshole look, if my kid was screaming in pain and I knew what the hell was going on, I would be yelling at the doctors. If I was at a 10 and someone kept touching my child, if someone kept touching me at a 10, I'm going to yell. There it just happens. My husband has had to shut windows on a bad day because a breeze hurts,
Mm,
a blanket hurts, just having my skirt on hurts. I mean, the fact that these nurses were touching her, I mean, imagine someone when you're touching someone, hitting you, punching you. It's it is beyond unconscionable that these people knew that she could have this, and they were touching her like this.
And
I
look, if the if Dr. Kirkpatrick and all these other specialists, Dr. Hannah, if they were wrong, so what? They were wrong. It wasn't her mother, it wasn't her father. She sought out specialists. She sought out answers because she did the things that they all say is what will heal this occupational therapy, physical therapy. She
Yeah.
had inpatient, she did this inpatient, she did it all. It didn't help. She seeks out other therapy, she goes to alternative therapy, and it starts to help. And it's her fault that they were maybe wrong. Maybe they were wrong. Maybe the ketamine didn't help her. Maybe it was just a, I don't know, placebo effect. How do I know?
Yeah.
All I know is it's not a crime to seek out therapy for your kid when the other when the
Well,
stuff isn't working.
and look, she was probably okay, here's my view on it. She was the mom was first traumatized by having to go through all of this medical stuff and not finding it. You get this awesome kind of lull period where you think, "I have found something that works. Oh my gosh, it works." You get this, and I can tell you my CRPS is greatly affected by weather, by the movement, definitely rain, lower pressure systems.
Mm,
So you get a massive low pressure system, and the trauma of having what you think is your golden ticket to having your child back, to seeing your child recover, and then it goes back to shit. I can imagine she was so traumatized, there was so much trauma there. So, her reacting quite possibly with a trauma response,
right.
and then,
And then you
reacting
have the
forcefully to
actual
people not paying attention to her because she actually knows what the hell she's talking about. What I don't get is the reflex sympathetic dystrophy, or the RDS Foundation, is in Miami, Florida. Why the hell was no one contacted there? The f
mm, it's a good
because
question.
I have a leaflet that I am to take with me. I have, I'm supposed to laminate it at some point when I remember, when my squirrel ADHD reminds me at some point to do these things on time. But there's a leaflet. I mean, my entire it's only my left leg, but they recommend whatever side you're affected on to not get any needlework done. So any like blood draws or anything like that, to use pediatric needles, um, and then just to take it in because medical people don't know what the hell you have. So it just you take it in, you can hand it to them, and it's an ER protocol. I also wear my handy dandy medical bracelet that just basically says, "Don't effing touch my left leg."
Mm.
But she's handled this with such grace, and why go after a 17-year-old? That's the part I
I'll
don't
tell you
get.
why. I'll tell you why, because I'm a member of the media and I know why. Because they saw those photographs that the defense was trying to get it into evidence of a hot girl in short skirts, and they knew that people would click on it, and so they used her, they sexualized a kid for clicks. That's what they did. They do not care that it could destroy her reputation. They do not care that they're calling her a liar. They do not care that she may now have complex PTSD on top of her other PTSD because of this incident of splashing this picture across and accusing her of faking it. This poor girl, no one has ever believed her, not since she was 9 years old
No.
when this started happening. And now Court TV is behind an effort to make their viewers not believe her now. And now that she's 17 years old and she has agency and she can speak for herself. And let me ask you something, Mo.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything in her testimony that made you think, "Oh, she doesn't have CRPS. She must be lying. She must be exaggerating."
No, actually, so oddly enough, and I'm gonna I was the Johns Hopkins to me, so that's actually why I can't watch the trial. I was the one telling myself it was all in my head. to the point,
Mm.
so I broke my ankle in August and I wore the boot. It was so painful. It hurt so bad. My entire leg was on fire. It hurt. I just figured it was just me, it must just be how I was healing. I just wore the boot, kind of did the thing and then let it go. And it was still swelling, still turning purple. And I just thought, okay, I'll work past it. I don't have time. I've got 6 kids, that kind of thing. Martin Luther King Day of this past year, my husband finally said, "I will hog tie you and take you to
Mm.
the hospital." So I went back in and they found out the bone hadn't healed, but they weren't really sure why all of the stuff was going on. So they did a bone scan and it showed advanced CRPS in my leg. So what really touched me was I was John Hopkins in my own head. And so Maya has sat here and just with such grace and such bravery, and it's a quiet, dignified, wise beyond her years
Mhm. No, 'cause she's been
bravery.
forced into maturity,
What
really. Her
forced
childhood
into,
was stolen from her, and
but
she's
I
her joy was taken, and
yeah, and
it's
it's terribly sad to see, and I say this as a mom, it hurts so bad to see, and I can't watch. I've done Dr. Chopra, who I thought was Dr. Gupta for some reason, but I think
I did
I
the same thing. I
mixed it.
called him Gupta too. I was like, "I'm sorry for being
I
deliberately
think
racist, but I called Dr.
no,
Chopra Dr. Gupta."
well, I think I mixed him up with the CBS guy.
Ah, it's
I didn't
possible.
mean to be in yeah, I was like, "Look, I didn't mean to be the ist
And
or the
there's something
phobe, I just."
the Guptas and the Chopras are close, though. It's hard to get those straight sometimes. I forgive you. I did the same thing. I'm sure other people do too.
But what I don't understand is that when you have a chronic condition, at what point is the suffering performative enough that it's valid for these people?
Oh, no,
And
it's never valid
what
enough. Because if she's ever caught and here's the thing, how do you think Maya's gonna feel now going forward with her even after this trial is over? How do you think she's gonna feel about having a social media account and sharing anything about her life anywhere where someone who might be stabbing her in the back will just send it to a tabloid to say, "Look at this, look at
well,
the lying
yeah,
little slut who got $200 million from J Hatch, but look at her and partying up and because she's out to dinner one night wearing a nice dress." This could go
yeah.
on forever for her, and she already
She
said
got
she
too
can't
much
go out.
sympathy, and now they have to tear her
They
down.
have to tear her down, and I'm
And
telling you, the same day this
in the
happened.
for the sake of a hospital that has done and Dr. Sally Evil Face and
Uh-huh,
I
yep.
all of I mean, these are all dill holes. Why are we on the side of evil? I'm confused.
I'm not, and I haven't been from the beginning, and I have
Wha
told I have told this audience and everybody else, I'm not gonna pretend to be unbiased. I'm 100% biased against
Oh,
the
no, I
state.
am
I am
well,
100% biased against their colluders in the hospital,
I have a
who
petty patch somewhere. I
medically
put the whole petty
kidnap
patch
kids.
on.
You don't come here looking for me to be unbiased when it comes to the jackboot of the state and the jackboot of these dill holes at thank you unhung hero, that's a good word, these dill holes over at J Hatch. No, you're not going to find that here, and it turns out I'm vindicated. We're all vindicated. We were right, and it's okay to go with your gut sometimes and say, I don't like these people, I don't like what they did, and I think they
Well,
should pay.
and then people have the nerve to wonder why parents are afraid. People have the nerve to wonder why parents are, like, telling their are sitting down and telling their kids, "Hey, what we say at home stays at home," or,
Hmm.
"Hey, I'm pulling my kids out of public schools. We're using the vouchers." I mean, it's the fact that my illness was also used against me and the public school system was also deeply
What
illuminating to me.
is that? A
Um,
puppy I see next to you?
oh,
Oh
well, yes.
my God. Look at that dog.
Fry,
That
come
is a
here.
cute dog.
Come on.
Oh my goodness. Oh, look at this puppy.
Well, okay. So Fry
So
was supposed to be
cute.
a Pomsky. He was supposed to be my emotional support vodka dog.
Uh-huh. Aw,
But a Pomsky he is not. A Mutsky he
a
is.
Mutsky. He's so
Okay.
cute.
Yes, I will tell the CPS story because that is also super fun. No, so around the time I was first diagnosed, I was put on a a lot of medication. So I went from 0 medication to a lot, and I used to pack my youngest 3 sons lunches. Now, what my youngest 3 sons were doing for a full week was hiding their lunches and then getting school lunch at school. And instead of contacting me and asking me, "Hey, um, why are the kids coming in with no lunches?"
Right.
Um, they called CPS on me, and after the
No.
principal interrogated my sons, and they basically told the principal that mommy's tired a lot because I was adjusting to new medications. I'm
Oh,
gonna let you
no.
down, I know. She's
Oh,
taking
no.
pills and sleeping all the time.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
So, I come home from doing groceries and there's a CPS guy there and he's like, "Yeah, you have to do a drug test. I have to talk to all the kids." And I have to explain, and he doesn't know what CRPS is. And he's like, "Okay, I have to make sure that's real. I have to get all of my prescriptions out, and then I have to say, I do use certain natural things that are legal in my state.
Mhm.
These are the things that I use. I do not use narcotics because I don't believe in them and I don't like big pharma." All of that. And then so that gets taken care of. Then I have to pull my youngest 2 children out of school because the first week of school after that is all cleared up, the same principal, because my middle son goes to school the first week with the same shirt on twice, I get a CPS visit again. So I pulled them out and they are now in a private school because Indiana has voucher programs. But I don't know what I did to tick off this woman. I may have called her a C word on a stream,
Well,
but,
if the shoe fits. Yeah, and
well,
look,
yeah,
here's
I
the thing,
mean,
I've
her
had
and
to
her LuLaRoe mafia need to just
oh
chill the
god.
hell out.
I
Well,
put
because
my
she
kids in
accused
front of
me.
a whiteboard and I wrote down I drilled them on the Fifth Amendment and what it means and what unlawful search and seizure means. I had, like, my 6-year-old and my, I s what ti how old 10-year-old role playing with me what happens when a CPS or police officer comes to school to talk to you just in case. And I had them both saying, "I want to talk to my lawyer." And then they had her number because I have a lawyer for my kids just in case because of what I do. When I investigate CPS, so I know damn well that I'm in the targets of anybody who wants to shut me up. I've even had people threaten to do it before. So my kids are protected with an attorney. But they now when they were that age, 6 and 10, they knew, "We need to call our attorney. We won't speak to
Oh,
you
no,
without
it
an
gets
attorney."
better. So, this was when I was streaming and doing court cases because I had started this in April. It was alleged that I would send them out of the room and do streaming unclothed. Look, I
What?
was like, "Ma'am, the life I live that is rich and full in your imagination." But look, it would be like a reversed hostage situation. No
Oh
one wants
my
to see boobs that have gone through 6 nursings, okay? Like, pay me $10 and I'll put it back on, okay?
Who said that?
So,
The principal or the
the
CPS
principal
people?
the principal, interrogated my kids again, and then, it was heavily implied to the CPS person. So, I called the, superintendent who didn't call me back, and by the time I had gotten them enrolled in the private school, the assistant superintendent had finally called me back. Let's see, this happened on a Friday. I got the boys enrolled on a Monday. I finally got a call from the assistant superintendent on a Wednesday, and she said, "Oh, well, I've heard you had a problem. Would you like to check out other elementary schools?" And I said, "Ma'am, I don't think you understand. I put a stat callback about one of your principals interrogating my children without an advocate there or myself there. She interrogated my children. I don't think you understand how absolutely incredibly ridiculous that is, considering she's not a forensic psychologist with children, with a child background. She is delving into my family's past. She's implying that I'm doing OnlyFans streams. Um, no. What
But
is so
even if you were
what
though too, that's legal.
yeah.
So what the hell?
So
You can't call
yeah.
CPS on somebody because they have OnlyFans. Not that you do,
Well
but I mean, you shouldn't be able to. That's insane. I don't
and
endorse OnlyFans, but it's not illegal.
I said, "So I would have been great to talk to you on Friday afternoon. I would have been great to talk to you on Monday, but I have already taken my tax money and put it into a private school. So good day." And
Mm.
if I had my druthers and my girls would be okay going to a school that requires them to wear knee-length skirts, I would pull all of them out, but they wouldn't. So good day to you.
Good day to you. I said good day.
Day.
You
Yes,
know,
good
I
day.
I think personally, I hope that this is all closed with CPS and
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
because
it's all close.
oh God,
But
because they
it's
are.
a
I hope you have an attorney now because I think you could sue them for what they did. To tell you the truth.
well, it's it it's that moment when you realize that you have the weight of the entire government. Maya's family and parents know that they have the weight of the entire government against them,
It's true.
trying to break their entire family up. It is you against the entire state of Florida and the entire medical machinations of this hospital who don't believe you or your child to the point that they're not going to let her have communion. I mean, as a recovering Catholic, F you.
Hmm.
I mean, let her have the scary Jesus picture for fuck's sake. I mean, the Sacred Heart picture. What?
And also the wafer, for God's sake, like you can't figure out that it doesn't have ketamine on it. It would have dissolved. You can't put liquid on a wafer and it still be intact. That's ridiculous. Doesn't anybody know anything about communion? Haven't these people ever been to church? These motherfuckers. I'll tell you what.
No, that's a
They,
no. They've never been to church.
did you know that I mean they threw Jesus in a dumpster? This is what they did, these people. They where's my
Oh,
meme? I'm looking desperately for my meme. Look what they did. I have this picture
is
of
it
her
not?
doing it.
Well, you should have used Buddy Christ from Dogma. That's my only concern. Buddy
You have to
Christ is
see
my
the
favorite
caption.
Christ.
Oh wait, where's the caption? The caption said the whole caption is being covered up. It says no cake or Jesus for sick kids at all children's hospital. We throw cake and Jesus in the dumpster. That's just who we are at Johns Hopkins
Yeah, it's
Hospital.
it just it kills me that again she ha- that regardless of whether you believed Maya had this or not, you have doctors' documentation. You billed for CRPS. Point blank, end of story. You billed for it. You treated it effing wrong. You put her in a boot. And let me tell you, as a person who has CPRS or CPR, whatever it is, and had to wear a boot twice, that is pain beyond measure.
Mm.
So they had Maya doing that to the point that they wanted to break her feet and try to put them back together. No, it's just, and Dr. Sally, may she never work again.
Ugh. She still has a private practice. Can you imagine being a parent that takes your kid to her private practice? On another separate note, there's a chicken literally laying an egg outside my window right now. I hear it. It's not supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be up in the coop, and it is laying an egg outside my window. I hear it.
Uh,
Damn
between
it.
animals and children, it, yeah, again, I am used I tell everyone, I was like, I do court crime, current events, and chaos. It's you kind of get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this great meme that my locals crowd made for me. It's the new updated Munchie Bunch. These are all the witches at J Hatch who were involved in accusing Beata of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. It's interesting to me that almost all of these accusers are women of a certain
Do
age.
do any of them have children, or do all of them have cats? I question.
I can smell the cats from here. I can
I
smell the
think
cats.
I think a couple of them might have chia pets. I don't know
I'm
that I trust them with cats.
Kathy Beatty has children. She has 2 stepchildren, so she's a wicked stepmother and a daughter, and she has a grandchild she had to be reminded about on the stand. So if that tells you
Ah,
anything.
well, she sounds like a lovely person. Wasn't she the
Mhm.
one that was trying to steal Maya, though?
Mhm. Mhm. She said she wanted to be
Awesome.
her mother.
What
Yeah,
is
it sounds
wrong?
like breakfast, guys, but now I have to hunt around the yard to find the egg because this stupid chicken just laid one somewhere outside my window here, probably under the porch or under a bush, and it's going to be a problem.
Eh, I wish I could have chickens. My HOA is my HOA is asshole. But
Sasso. Look, here's the other thing too. Okay, so yesterday we find out that Johns Hopkins put somebody on the stand, their expert, to say that during the time of Maya's incarceration at their hospital, that everything was hunky-dory. Everything was just perfect. They didn't have any problems with any state agencies. They were all good. They passed all their stuff. Then we find out, oh, wait, that's not true. Because there's this report from the Department of Health and Human Services, a federal investigation that finds out they have endangered their patients on a systemic level. They can't even stack oxygen tanks properly. Their oxygen tanks are in danger of exploding. This place is killing children, maiming children, hurting children, and they knew about it. And this was happening while Maya was there. Here it is.
okay,
50
so they were
50 pages.
marked safety by the Chernobyl Safety Commission. Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And for some reason, they didn't have to post this on their door. I don't know why. Look
Ah,
at this. The senior director indicated that the facility did not collect, track, or trend any data based on objective indicators for individual physician quality of care and or
where is
current
their state
competence.
compliance officer?
I,
I would be calling their state compliance officer right away. I mean, this is they have to have a state compliance officer or a federal I mean, a compliance
this is
officer of
it.
some
I
sort.
think this is it. They came and they inspected and they said, you're getting shut down if you don't fix these things. And they're going to lose a whole bunch of lawsuits because they hid this from people and they tried to hide it from the judge. And so on the day that this comes out, that the judge is now saying, we're not even closing this case because if the plaintiff proves to me that this is systemic, which is what this report says, he has ordered the hospital to now turn over all documents related to this. And he's dragging in their executive for a deposition tomorrow. And it's going to go in
So
front
this
of the
is why
jury.
the Maya dress picture came out.
Yes. Because they
Those
must be
motherfucker
those
twat waffles.
motherfuckers. Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse my French and
The same
Canadian.
day that this comes out, Court TV decides that the big story is Maya's short homecoming dress. I shit you not.
These so take a sexualize abuse a girl again. No, she only just lost her mother and has had to deal with chronic pain for 7 years. But no, let's drag a girl for her dress. You asshats.
Look at
And you
this.
wonder why Britney Spears went insane.
I haven't even read through this yet. I was going to kind of read through it today at some point, but they pulled records, like random records, and they found all this terrible shit in these records from the patients, the children who were patients there. Look at this. The review of the cause analysis action plan, no date indicated, described a patient experienced a seizure associated with the administration of blood products. The action plan included developing a process to have all blood product uh, documents scanned into an electronic medical record system. The implementation date was 7/2/18 for inpatients and 8/2/18 for outpatients. The action plan did not include any reference to monitoring or reevaluating the effectiveness of the plan.
Well,
So
they're working on a government plan, I see. This will be great. What the actual crap, people? I used to think Johns Hopkins was a good place.
no, it's a bad place. It's a poorly run
Yeah.
hospital, and you're more likely to get killed there because their surgeons. You know what else this report said? Their surgeons don't wash their hands.
Oh, well, neither does my 7-year-old, but he's 7, and
He's
he's not
not
performing
performing
surgery.
surgery. So,
Oh, so
remember we heard in the trial that they did not flush Maya's port, and her mother
god
had to
damn
tell
it.
them to flush the port, and that came up in evidence. They had let it sit like that for a month. They had never flushed it. It's a dirty, disgusting hospital that is giving people infections and killing children. And
I look,
Court TV decided this wasn't newsworthy, Mo, not newsworthy.
okay, look, I'm not saying that I allegedly have a Ford Transit 10 passenger and that I want to learn to weld, but look, and I'm not saying that I want to make a merch store that says some days are a killdozer day, but what the F?
Some days really are, though. Oh, look at this. We've heard a lot about patient rights and responsibilities in this trial. A review of the facility's policy and procedure, patients' rights and responsibilities management of, indicated patients and families are provided patients' rights and responsibilities information as required by law. In order to provide our patient families with the most appropriate information, 3 versions of parents' rights and responsibilities are available, depending on who is providing services. The 3 versions available are for JHatch, which includes blah, 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 all of this stuff. Okay, for 3 different things. The policy statement indicated all patients and families will be informed of their rights and responsibilities while receiving care and treatment, blah, blah, blah. Let's hear how they violate it, because they violated it for Maya too. The patient's Bill of Rights and Responsibilities are available. They're supposed to be posted in the main hospital and at all outpatient care centers, provided upon admission, and posted in the clinic. Electronic versions are also supposed to be available. The facility failed to identify the process and document the patient's rights information was provided to the patient or patient representative. So they didn't even do it. They
But
didn't
see,
do it.
this is look, and I can tell you even being super lucky and having my complex regional pain syndrome diagnosed early, I had 6 different doctors that I was going to. And it wasn't until Dr. Chopra explained what was going on with CRPS on the stand as I was kind of going through with my stream and kind of just talking about it, that I've gotten a clear understanding of what they kind of know because I've watched symposia where he kind of goes more medically inclined, and I know just enough to be dangerous, with medical terms and stuff. But a simple, easy explanation, that's the first time I've had it. I've gone to several different doctors. Advocating for yourself is so hard in this current medical system, and then to have a hospital that is actively working against you, not allowing you to know your rights, unless you are very up to date with what your rights are, you don't know. I mean, you have no idea. Most parents wouldn't know that if you sign a consent to treat, that you are basically signing your child away.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't
I
know that
didn't know
once
that
you
until
sign that,
you
you
wrote that, and
can't.
I was like, "Oh, holy crap, I'm gonna have to learn how to do medicine."
I didn't know that once you signed it, you couldn't take back the consent for something. Although I think actually that you can. And I think that what J Hatch was doing was totally illegal. And I think that's what we're finding out. What we're finding out is no, a consent to treat does not give them a blanket rights to do anything they want. And you can rescind that consent at any moment. That's what other medical professionals told me. They were like, they might be doing that, but that's not right. You have every right to have informed consent. But it's really scary when you have a kid and you have to take them to the hospital, because if one doctor disagrees with you, if you get one Sally Smith,
Yeah.
that person has the authority to separate you from your child, and there is not a damn thing in the world you can do about it except bankrupt yourself, go get a lawyer and fight like hell and hope you win. But
Well, Yeah,
It's not
especially
a
if you
it's
have
not
a
a done
wild,
deal.
feral 7-year-old like I do. He is look, he's the last and of yeah, he is the last. And, if knocked out both front teeth, broken arm, he is just the one that we have, I think, a parking space at the local ER. So I'm always worried, but, you know, she's done this how does Sally Smith still have a job? I mean, has she ever correctly diagnosed a child with actual
I
abuse?
don't think so.
Not to
She's
mention all
testified
of the
in 300
DCF.
cases. I want a review of all 300 of those cases, and I think every parent in those 300 cases that Sally Smith was a witness needs to have their cases reopened and reexamined
Yes.
by someone who is not a thundercunt psycho.
Yeah. Well, also, can we talk about how many kids DCFS puts back into families with addicts and then lets them unalive? Can we talk about how many kids, DCFS loses? I mean, I am sorry, but DCFS does a crap job sometimes. They go after families like me, and then we know of several families that they continue trying to put the kids back in there, and it's a
I
terrible
know. They
home.
don't I've been covering them for 20 years. They always do this. They completely screw up their entire purpose. Was she
Oh,
replying was she replying to
that's the one
you?
she answered to me, and
Okay,
I flipped
let's
out, and I
cover
about
this.
lo
What was her first post that you which one was the one that you were replying to that got this?
uh, okay, what was the one that I was replying to? Oh, I think I said oh, crap, so, y'all, I will be very honest, I am like your great Aunt Edith with a jitterbug about technology. I have I literally that's why my name is Mo in the deep end because I just jumped into the
Well,
internet
here, let's just go
in the
over
deep
here. Let's go to her posts because here's her page.
well, so I was gonna
And
make fun of her Fox hair news or her big, Fox News hair, but then I thought that was mean, and I didn't wanna
all right,
be
so
mean.
she posted this one. This one got me mad. Watching this live, I'm seeing a very different tone from Maya Kowalski on rebuttal. Her answers seem very rehearsed to me. What do you think? I'm
I think it
curious.
was I think it was the where she was talking about her parting or her dress, and I just said, "Notice how she's sitting stiffly," or something. I said, "Did you talk to anyone that had CPRS, or did you just go to the internet to spout off on X?" I
Uh-huh.
can't remember what I said. I was
And she
so big,
responded to
angry,
you.
mad. "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah," and she's like, "You assume I didn't do my research?"
Here it
And I
is.
was like,
So she
"Yeah,
retweeted the Court TV article of her in the dress. Days after Maya Kowalski's attorney said she was having a CRPS flare with
days,
agents, photos on social media
days,
show her celebrating at parties. The horror.
days,
I
you
said, "You're
giant
trash. Your
bitch
channel is
burrito."
garbage." Attacking a kid with chronic pain is a terrible look. So it might have been this one, and you said, "Why don't you interview somebody with CRPS?" And she, instead of interviewing you and reaching out to you and saying, "Yeah, that's a great idea," this is her response.
Oh,
"You're
yeah, you
assuming
assume
I haven't done my research, but I
oh, yeah.
have." Oh, she doesn't want to talk to you. She doesn't want to talk to
Well,
you with CRPS.
I was just like I was so big, hot, mad, and normally, like I said, reacting to people on X, I think, is wasted time because you're just fighting with people on the internet. You've got, what, 120 or 400 I don't know how many characters and emojis, but you've got it makes no sense, but I had to get on and make a video because I was so effing mad because with CRPS, like I said, you have a base pain level. I don't know what Maya's is, I've never talked to her, but you can get used to your base pain level, and why do they want her to lose her entire life? Maybe, just maybe, people with chronic pain don't want to become just CRPS. Maybe we want to take back a little bit of our life. Maybe she wanted to have a day. You know, it is always, this performative suffering that, for their validation, and you know what? pisses me off more is if, if they had decided she was a victim, it would be, "Look at this brave girl fighting the odds." It would be all the victim points
Mm,
if they wanted it, but because they have decided to tear her down, it's, "Look at her partying." You know what? No, no, this is a girl who has done things with grace. When I'm having a really bad day, I think about how Maya has handled this with really good time. You know what? You don't see Maya on the days that she's having a really hard time. You don't see me
mm-mm.
on days, but that's the thing with chronic pain. Again, you see people who are, whether you see it or not doesn't mean it's not valid.
Mhm.
And and who the hell are you, ma'am? You have a do we need to dig through your social media to validate any and all of your life choices? Do we wanna play this game? Because I'm sure we can find some interesting stuff on X if we really wanna play this.
It's very
Everyone
upsetting.
everyone has crap that I'm sure that they don't want, you know, but how dare you go after a child? And you know what? They will take a 19-year-old who's carjacked someone and say, "Look at this poor kid, he deserves a second chance." But Maya goes to homecoming? Fuck
Mhm.
right on off, okay?
Or
Right on off.
Halloween. Halloween. And you know what the argument they're making about her Halloween costume because she's wearing like a bathing what it looks like a bathing suit top and a cover up. They're saying that, "Oh, where's her modesty now?" There is a very big difference between a 17-year-old choosing a costume for Halloween that might be more revealing, but then a 10-year-old getting stripped against her will and photographed by a bunch of strangers. You don't
Can
see the
okay,
difference there? You don't see you don't see what
10 year
modesty
well,
is how you're comfortable.
because
Like, it's not about what
yeah.
other people think is modest, it's about what you think is modest. It's about how you're comfortable, and she's not comfortable having strangers look at her naked body,
No.
ripping her clothes off of her, which I think all of us could agree with.
Yeah,
And
oh my
William,
god.
I know William says, "But I would never have allowed my daughter to wear that, though."
No.
You know what? You might if her mother killed herself and you're alone
Look,
now, and, like,
yeah,
this is
there's thing look,
you might pick your
okay, I'm
battles.
gonna
That's
get
what I'm saying.
a little down. Look, I lost my first husband to addiction, all right? My older 2 daughters, there are things that you learn to let go of. There are fights that you learn to maybe
Right.
let go of. There are gives and takes. And there are different, as I tell my girls, there are different modesty standards. There are different fights that are just look, am I
This is how I
comfortable
feel
with it?
about hair.
Would I
If my kids
would
wanna
I
cut or shave their heads or, do I feel about hair like it's not my hair, it's their hair. I draw the line at tattoos and facial piercings, but you wanna make your turn your hair blue or, shave it, I don't care. It's hair, it'll grow back. I just don't like permanent changes. But yeah, when you have teenagers, you just become grateful that they're not, on drugs and pregnant. At some point, you
yeah,
just let go of
would I
some of these
rather
things.
because okay, because my oldest daughter is 17 and then she does this thing where she wears hoodies all year until it's summer and then she comes out in a bikini and I'm like, "Oh, no. No, no. T-shirt over that. We're going
Mhm.
full T-shirt over the bikini. No, thank you. And you need to wear a sign that says I'm 17 and my mom is crazy."
I know. It's a really tough thing, but look, we have to stop judging her and judging her dad and whatever for this dress that she's wearing
It's a
or
look, it's the style. I understand look, in the '50s, everyone was like, "Oh my god, Elvis, and they're all going to go to hell, and they're all gonna have babies." And
Mhm.
then in the '70s, it was the miniskirt, and then it was it is just the style now. I it looks look, I am not very comfortable with it. Do I want to sew, like, 5 inches of fabric on
Mhm.
everything that my middle daughter wears? Yes. Is she the one that pushes it? Yes. You're always, it's a give and take, and it's choosing your battles. And it is also completely effing irrelevant because it shouldn't have fucking been a story.
Mm-mm.
Because no one should have been looking at her stuff, because she should have been allowed to go to fucking homecoming and
Yep.
just had a fun time
Yep.
instead of had to be performatively suffering so that
And how come
the
she has to explain her dress when you go on Facebook and just go to any one of your friends' pages that has teenage girls, and you will see this exact thing all over their page at homecoming, okay? You go there and you look and see. Why does she have to explain herself, but your friends don't have to explain themselves? Look at this. This is just
yeah,
look for
the
kid homecoming photos. This is
oh,
the
yes.
standard right now. You go to any
I don't like
store
it.
that sells the homecoming dresses. This is what they are. Now, it's true that I am a hard ass with my kids. I have not allowed them to wear dresses like this. I won't do it. I
No,
refuse.
I tell my
But
kids
that doesn't
if I
mean
think
that
it's people are gonna throw ones at you, then it's
yeah.
no.
However, that does not mean that I'm judging every other parent who does let their daughter dress like this, because I know, one, how hard it is to fight with a teenager, and maybe that's not the fight you're going to pick. And two, a lot of people do not have the budget that I do to buy a dress for $200 instead of the $40 dress. These are $40 dresses right here. Okay. They're cheap. And all the cheap dresses look like slut walking dresses for sure. You can go to, Lord and Taylor, you can go to Von Maur, you can go to Macy's, you can spend $250 to $300 a dress,
Yeah.
and you will get a nice gown. But I'm not going to judge parents who don't have that kind of money to drop on a homecoming dress. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it. And I don't think that it's any of our business either
It
to be
it
doing
yeah,
this to somebody's
look,
kid.
it again, you guys, you can make your own choices, and it at the end of the day, I what's right for your family, I always tell people, "What's right for your family will be right for your family." It is what it is. Like I said, my daughters probably would not have gotten away with the one with the little cutout at the top. Actually, all of those are a little way too short for me, but
Yeah, way too
again,
short.
not my not my not my kids, not my problem.
Right.
Which is, and again,
And
they're
I don't
kids.
like that. I don't like these dresses. I think
I
this
don't
is a
like that.
bad idea. I think it's a bad
I think
idea. They
it's
can't even you can't even bend over to pick something up if you drop it. It's just ridiculous.
no.
But the point is, this is the style. This is what all of the kids are wearing. It doesn't make it right, but why are we
Now, I
picking
will say
girl?
prom dresses are longer. I've learned that homecoming dresses are typically shorter because I did ask, um, my girls, "Why can't you just wear a long dress?" Apparently, longer dresses are typically prom. I don't know why. I didn't go to either. I was a nerd. I worked.
Mhm. Well,
So,
I just think the media is really trying hard to sexualize her and make that the story. And I think that's gross. And I'm going to be writing about Julie Grant and her attempt to sexualize this kid instead of focus on the main problem. Mo, I'm going to get into now what happened in court today. Because apparently the defense did not turn over the documents that they were ordered to turn over, and I want to see that reaction. I don't know if you can stay.
okay.
I know you had other stuff to do. Do
I
you
can
want to
stay
hang
for a
out
little
while I
bit
do this?
longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
I
We're
wanna see
gonna.
the judge's valiant 4 hairs staying on.
Oh,
Those front
wonderful.
4
They're
hairs
really hanging
are
on.
those are the brave hairs. I call them
The
I'm
brave
so mean.
hairs. All right. Let me pull up the clip that I have. And thank you to the locals chat, to Nick and everybody in there who's been supplying me with the timestamps that I need to make this happen, because I don't have the time to do that. And I really appreciate that you guys are filling in that
Oh,
gap.
I'll call it tuft. Own what? You're right. It's the tuft.
Yes, we love Judge. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to see Whitney drop a bomb on the judge today that the defense disobeyed Judge Carroll.
Your Honor. Mr. Whitney, you're next. And I gotta look out. So You might want to hang for just another moment. Mr. Whitney.
Yes, Your Honor. If I could just comment on what Mr. Anderson just delivered to you. I won't go into detail. My question is, at this point, we have been delivered some documents regarding this joint commission issue. We have not been provided all of the documents that would exist, including the critical September 2018 immediate jeopardy report, audit, finding, however you want to classify that. So the question to the court is, recognizing it's Thursday at 11 a.m., how would the court like us to address this issue if we believe that there are insufficient documents being provided?
I was going to read what's been provided. Was the CMS notification 13119, the CMS survey 11119, the final accreditation report 81418 to 81718, get some done recommendations 62619, and the CMS revisit survey 22119 final.
I didn't hear the self-report in there.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
here is, and I want to be very clear about this.
Okay.
I am interpreting my instruction to turn over stuff very broadly.
Okay.
Very, very broadly.
Oh,
Is
he's like, is you confused?
odor, it needs to be turned over.
A scintilla of odor related to this, it needs to be turned over. This is basically the judge say, give me everything in your goddamn files and give it to me now.
It's like when I tell my kids, like, is that all of your homework? Everything. And they're like, oh, right.
Oh, right. God,
Right.
science
That science project I need to do tomorrow. How many weeks have you had to do it? 4. We need a poster board and glitter sticks
at midnight. Yep.
at midnight.
Okay.
You're up learning
When I
the
say
periodic
scintilla
table
of
again.
odor, anything having to do with the run up to this report, all self-reports, any prior surveys by the Joint Commission / CMS, because I heard that Mr. Hunter say yesterday, well, there was a prior triannual survey that we passed with flying colors.
You want that? How far back do you want to go, Judge?
Sure, Jan.
Let me ask this,
His
and
name is
maybe-
far
George,
back as we
George
need to go.
Glass.
Did anyone lose their job over this issue? Like, is this when the hospital president
My understanding
no longer
is
became hospital
because
president?
of the heart issue that there was some. Yes, I vaguely understand. Keep that with a grain of salt. I vaguely understand that as a result of the heart issue, there was a cleaning of house, so to speak.
Well,
Was that including a shredder? Did the cleaning of house also include shredding? Sinbad says, maybe the report is in the dumpster with chocolate cake and Jesus. They should check.
yesterday, Mr. Whitney
They found Jesus
said that the
chocolate
documents
cake and
say
In the
that
IJ
this was
IJ
not
report.
confined to the Heart Institute and that it was systemic. Now, obviously, I'm not in a fact-finding position at this moment, but
Yeah.
I need to at least assume the possibility that the reports are going to show more systemic than just heart-related. I mean, that's, I think, what the plaintiffs are telling me that the media accounts are.
I
that
understand
it's-
that's the
That's
allegation.
correct.
Judge.
Okay, so knowing
read
that,
it.
I'm not making a finding of fact, but it sounds like there's an allegation, and perhaps the media also have made statements that it's not just the heart. I don't know.
Just saying.
This thing just kind of got dropped on me yesterday.
And all of this,
But-
these events are taking place after the events in this lawsuit.
Well,
Right.
I'm about ready to get there.
Mm,
Because it does sound like the chief executive lost his or her job over this.
I believe that's accurate.
And so when did this chief executive start being the chief executive? Is this when,
Start being the chief executive?
yeah, is this when Johns Hopkins took over All Children's Hospital?
I don't know the answers, these, but I'll take the notes.
Because if we're talking about something that is systemic, something that becomes pervasive and systemic doesn't happen just overnight. it's a culture that is created. And so is it,
Mo, something you might have missed in the report, there was reference to a culture of fear and intimidation and retaliation. A culture. They called it the
Well,
culture in the hospital was one of fear and intimidation and retaliation, that anyone who blew the whistle would be retaliated against.
okay.
So,
Well,
how
I
do
did
you
a
take that in
story.
context with these nurses who all got together and said Maya was like the little girl from The Exorcist, swearing and spitting at them? And like that just doesn't make any sense, but they're all sticking to the same story.
Well, so like I said, I tried to watch the trial and it was a little too much for me, but I do Newsy News, I do about an hour of current events. Now, I stay away from, and this is going to sound is I'm irreverent, so deal with it, but I stay away from the Mesopotamia stuff, so
Yeah.
Mesopotamia, I stay
Mhm.
away from that,
Gotcha.
and
Me too.
politics. But, so for about an hour at 9 AM and then 7 PM at night, I do a bunch of stories, and I think in Johns Hopkins up in New York, there was a pathologist who was a bully from Johns Hopkins. So I don't know if this
Yep.
is at all Johns Hopkins that
We read that on this. That was at Boston. This particular
or
report
Boston,
is
yeah.
about all children's in Florida, though. So, but yes, it's widespread
Yeah.
in the
So,
entire
I don't know if
community
it's
of Johns Hopkins.
A Johns Hopkins sort of thing, that it's just a culture of that, or if it's the profession and we need to start looking at all hospitals. Um,
That's a good question.
kind
We should start looking at all hospitals if you ask me. I think that
Yeah,
these reports that are done ought to be public knowledge. There's no
yes.
excuse why this isn't public. They should have to nail it to the door like Martin Luther. They should have to put it
Yeah.
up where the public can go look at it and say, do I want to go to this hospital? Or are they stacking their oxygen tanks unsafely and I might blow up while I'm here? This is something the public should get to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I think we need to look at. I think this case is shining a light on medical overreach, and it also
Medical
if this joint
tyranny.
commission medical tyranny, and if anything, it's shown a light on sort of the incestuous relationship between DCFS, hospitals, the government overreach, this hospital kind of thing, and how all of these sort of government medical apparatchiks come together against the family and
Mhm.
what you need to do, how you need to advocate, what are your rights, those kind of things. So you can go in with a clearer idea of what your rights are. Because I
Mhm.
think none of us had a clear idea that we needed to know our rights, that there were rights that we had. I mean, well, because Johns Hopkins didn't post them, but also, that
Yeah, they
demeaning a
didn't post them, and
doctor.
then they also don't let you have them. They pretend like you don't have the patient's rights that they know you do
Yeah,
have.
calling the doctor an a-hole is apparently, enough to make that doctor mad and say that your mom has Munchausen's.
Yeah, that's enough to make the doctor, drive you to suicide. It's incredible. All right, let's listen to the rest of this and see what he has to say.
when this president came in, is it when Johns Hopkins took over the All Children's Hospital? Is that when the systemic problem started?
Judge, my understanding is that I forget the acronym of the organization that,
Joint Commission?
thank you, Joint Commission,
Shouldn't you know things as a lawyer?
that the Joint
Just asking
Commission
for a friend.
report, I
Especially
mean,
as a lawyer
they're
for the
looking for the
hospital.
documents, but that the Joint Commission report that was done in 2018, that they passed. And it was after that the hospital self-reported the issues with the heart stuff.
Well, let me ask you this. Was there media accounts that predated the hospital's self-report?
I don't know the answer to that.
Meaning, in other words, did the media bring this to the attention and then the hospital self-reported?
I don't know the answer to that.
But in my mind, if this is an issue of systemic hospital problems, and again, I don't know I haven't seen any of the reports, and all I'm going on is what I'm hearing in court. But if there is a systemic problem, if this president lost his or her job because of this issue, I kind of want to know when that president became the president. Because if we're talking about a creating of a culture, the inquiry does the creation, or does it start with that president? I don't know.
I don't know, Judge. I think that this is sort of going off the rails a little bit. I mean, the issue in this court for this jury is about whether or not, as I understand it, when the testimony was given that this hospital passed the, I'm sorry, the name keeps escaping me, the
Joint Commission.
Thank you. My God, I'll write it down. When this hospital, when there was testimony that they were accredited by the Joint Commission. And then there was an issue raised by the plaintiff, but that ain't true. They in fact were on this double secret probation or whatever. And so that's what started this, Judge. And so now it's become a deep dive into years and years of this hospital.
Well,
and so if the Joint Commission,
I think what started is when the defense presented evidence before this jury that says that the Joint Commission had blessed Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, giving what possibly is a very false impression.
Well, Judge, so that's,
and not just the Joint Commission, also federal agencies.
So that's the issue. So if in fact the Joint Commission in 2018, which would go back over the years that are involved here, passed the hospital, and then it was only after that that this issue came up with the heart stuff, then we were in fact accredited in 2016, 2017, when this is the thing. So to go back and deep
If you have
dive
to use finger quotes as
into
a
the
hospital
whole
to be
hospital
accredited,
seems
I'm
a little
worried.
extreme for the issue that this is addressing.
Well, I just fundamentally
I can answer a couple of the courts.
Okay.
I feel very strongly at this point that a deep dive.
The heart stuff, like people dying, doggone it.
Okay, so I don't,
has to happen immediately.
I understand. I'm just not clear what the court is asking for with respect to time frame and also what documents.
Well, again, I'm asking when did this president become president? I don't know the answer to that. But if we're talking about something systemic that was a culture that was pervasive through the hospital, then I need to know how long senior leadership was involved. Because if we're talking about the creation of culture, it generally starts from the top down. Now, sometimes it's bottom up, but that seems to be something that I need to know.
But isn't the first threshold question, was it systemic? Before we have to dive deep 20 years or however many years this guy was president?
Well,
Isn't
how am I
that
going to
the
make
first
that
question?
determination?
I think the reports would make that determination and the
Yeah, but you didn't hand them over, you heifer.
I don't have any more hearing time between now and when we walk in on Monday.
Well, I feel like I can't
Ooh,
address
can we
the
make the
court's
thug
concern.
meme,
I
thug
do
life
not have the
meme?
knowledge
Just asking
as
for a
to when this
friend.
guy became
Oh, I have one. You haven't seen it yet.
No,
Here.
I
Have you seen it?
no, I haven't. I've tried to
Here.
watch this and it's just been a little too much.
All right. Well, here's Thug Judge.
I'm understanding you're moving for a mistrial when you got additional time and you can call the same witnesses to address whatever issues. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Your Honor, because we
Can
don't.
I-
Okay.
Can we go to exhibits, please?
I had to use stupid Apple Music because I got hit with a copyright for using Snoop Dogg,
Oh.
unfortunately.
What? Damn it,
Yeah,
Snoop
you can't
Dogg, you're
even-
supposed to be one of the people.
Apparently not.
president.
Okay,
I can.
Mr. Whitney, when did this person, well, who are we talking about first? Who's the president?
Jonathan Ellen. He
Okay.
was brought down from Baltimore after the acquisition.
When was
He
the
was-
acquisition?
Oh, Baltimore, no
The
shit.
acquisition,
I mean, no
I
crap.
believe, was 2011. I might be wrong on the date.
It's 2011.
Okay,
Okay.
so So when Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital took over All Children's Hospital, the fellow who lost his job became the chief of All Children's Hospital. Is that what you're telling me, Mr. Whitney?
Yes, Your Honor, except I can't represent that he immediately became the president at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital upon the acquisition. I can only represent that between the time the hospital was acquired by Johns Hopkins and the time that Maya Kowalski was a patient there, he had become the president and was the president during the relevant admission.
So I can find that out, Judge. Obviously,
So
when
why
he
don't we
became
do this?
president.
Whenever that person became president,
2012. 2012.
that's the date range.
And you're looking for the Joint Commission report from that date
And the
forward.
federal agencies, however they interact with each other.
Okay, I'm not trying to be difficult. That's kind of vague, but I'll report it.
How is
I'm
that
doing the best I
vague?
can.
I
Again,
understand.
I am going
Did
to
she
take a
graduate
very
after No Child Left
broad
Behind,
view
or
of
did she use Common
discovery.
Core
So
math?
if there's any hint that it might be relevant to this concept, it needs to be turned over. I am going to look on very disfavorably
Ooh.
if I come in on Monday morning and I get a list. Well, I didn't get this report from 2017 because I didn't use the proper language in my discussions. Because
I'm hearing the court, Judge, and I'll do my best to articulate this.
But she doesn't understand
As
rate
instructed.
things.
Your Honor, if I can inquire, only because I kind of missed how this became a thing in this trial. Very quickly, does this relate to the punitive damages for false imprisonment and battery? Does it relate to the negligent training? I'm not.
It sure relates to the negative training.
That's all.
Or negligent training, for sure.
Yeah, it means that all of their people were jackasses.
Triggered all of this. I just trying to figure out.
Well, what triggered all this is the defense presenting an impression in front of the jury that the Joint Commission has blessed All Children's or Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital and basically said everything was fine. And that possibly is either a correct statement or a materially false statement.
Okay.
Very materially false statement.
Oh boy.
All right, I understand the court.
Oh, materially false is a very bad phrase. You do not want the judge using your witness gave a materially false statement on the stand. Oh my God. If it is proven that the defense attorneys knew, and I think there's no way they didn't know that that was a materially false statement, they can be disbarred.
Yeah. Again, what this woman is, I hope, I mean, I haven't watched this trial and I am not a lawyer. I'm a lay tuber, loosely affiliated, but not associated with LawTube.
I call myself LawTube adjacent. So I'm
Well,
with you.
I call myself LayTube. It's a single entendre. But this woman can't be as willfully ignorant as she is unless she was given, again, she got her legal, degree from Guam too, which may or may not have tipped
She
over.
might have gone to the same school that Julie Grant went to. It's possible.
Well, it might have tipped over. We don't know.
It could. A few more people, and that's all it will take for the capsizing of Guam.
That's all she wrote. But they're quibbling about the fact they know for damn sure when this man became president. These are not immaterial facts. They know when this happened. They know when they were given a, double plus good newspeak, grade
sure.
Ministry of Truth.
Double plus no good. That's exactly what it was. It was a double plus ungood report. And they know exactly where it is in the files. They know exactly where it is in the emails.
She's over here like,
handing it over.
So this was vaguely about something in February of what year? And in the epoch of Gnome, we're talking about Narnia. Like, it's just, it, I mean, I expect this from my children when they're trying to tell me what happened. Like, like when my youngest son, writes his name on the wall and then tries to explain to me that a robbler, because that's what he calls robbers, a robbler came in and, wrote his name. He's a very respectful robbler, wrote his name, and then, GTFO'd right out. Oh, well, no, if I really wanna break Megan, I'll tell her about the hand jobs, because that's what I do.
Oh, February might be my favorite. When did this happen? Well, Judge, I don't know. Did you say February of? Oh God. Oh God, this is so true. This is the way she is acting, especially she's also faking writing things down in that legal pad. I don't even believe she's writing anything down.
I faked writing things down when I pretended to be Sarah Boone for Halloween on my evening Newsy News show. Like, "Dear Governor DeSantis, I don't care if you wear high heels, but I need to get out of here. I like your height. I think you're 6'4". Love, Sarah Boone." Yeah.
I don't even think she's writing anything. I would pay big money to see what's on that legal pad. And she could just be writing, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, 8,000 times. I'm fucked.
Okay,
Yes,
so
that's what she's
MG Law
writing.
says I must tell about the hand jobs. Now, I
Okay.
will preface this story with I try to be a good parent, and I am not responsible for what my youngest, most feral Viking child um, makes of my stories. But my oldest daughter is 17 and she's going to be a senior next year. So she's getting all these, like postcards and flyers from
Yes, my house
college.
is full of them.
And my youngest son is in first grade and he's like, "Are you kidding? Their school after high school? That's bogus." Or he said something like, that's disgusting. That's dumb. Why do we want to go to school?" And I was telling him about working with his hands and trade schools, and we were watching Dirty
I know
Jobs
where this
and
is
welding
going.
and all that. And so, you know, we get ready to go to his very Christian, very Baptist school, and I'm driving them to school. And all of a sudden, I'm not paying, how you're not kind of paying your attention, you're just listening to things in the background. And all of a sudden, I hear, "Yeah, I'm going to do so many hand jobs when I grow up. Yeah, college is stupid. We should all do hand jobs. I'm going to tell my teacher I'm going to do so many hand jobs. Yeah, everyone should do hand jobs. Hand jobs are awesome." And I was like, "No, no, no, you're not gonna tell your teachers that. No, it's work with your hands." And they're like, "No, hand jobs are great." "No,
Oh no.
no, you said I could do hand jobs." And I was like, "No, I did not say you could do hand." I'm like, "Work with your hands." And they're like, "But mom, you said hand jobs." And I was like, "No, no, I did not. I said work with your hands." And they're like, "Well, what's the difference?" And I was like, "Ask your father later, but don't say that in school or you'll lose your iPad for a month and a half."
Oh God.
Now,
Thank God. They could have called CPS on you for that one too.
yeah, I was just like, "You know what, God, I was trying to do good and get more children into trades,
And look what you get in return.
and all I
Oh my
keep
God.
hearing about is hand jobs." And I was like, "Oh, for the love of God." But it was so funny because the 12-year-old in my brain, like, half of my brain was just a 12-year-old laughing on the ground, unable to render assistance because it was laughing so hard to the point it was nearly unable to breathe, and the other part of my brain was like, could you assist here? We're
Oh,
driving, and we have to make sure we don't get CPS called or the pastor principal to call us. Like, could you
so
help a little bit?" And they're like, "No, it's too funny. We can't help you."
well, speaking of hand jobs, I think Miss Cruel is going to have to possibly offer one to the judge to get out of this pickle.
Directives. Anything else on this issue, or can I?
as long as we have some date certain, time certain today by which we would know something.
Well, I don't know what that means. I think
We've got
that
a deposition tomorrow,
I
right?
would say that the court's comments have expanded the materials that we thought we were producing. So I need to get that information.
I'm not sure I expanded it. I just was.
Well, we went back in time.
Enforcing it.
So
We have to have a little bit.
I have 6 children. You know I don't know about those.
Before we depose them.
I've said what I'm going to say on it. It's an expansive, given the position we find ourselves in and how this came up. So let's talk about how Monday morning it's going to shake out.
Yes, sir.
Because I also, am I getting a motion to disqualify 1 juror or 2 jurors? Or
Oh,
3
here we
jurors?
go.
1 juror. And that's going to be filed today.
yes,
I want to first, when we walk in, I want to first address the imminent jeopardy finding issue.
okay.
That's going to be the first thing we're going to do. And any sort of follow-up. My hope is that if there's any further testimony that has to be done, the plaintiffs are ready to bring it. So we can end this case, a few minutes after we call bringing the jury in. The second issue I think we need to address will be the juror issue.
Yes.
And whether we.
All right, I found out that he doesn't actually talk about the juror issue, and we're not going to get to that till Monday. So instead, we're going to go and we're going to watch the press conference. Oh, no. First, we have to go and watch the Hitler argument, because this was a bizarre moment in the trial. Oh, yeah.
What
Hitler
does a
has.
struggling Austrian painter from the 30s have to do with
Somewhat I
anything?
do want to explain to you.
Oh, you're going to find out. If you can even believe this, this is how bad
Well,
a case that they have.
why
Johnson
is General
such a
Mon
bad-
Mothma here from Star Wars? Is he getting ready to blow up Tatooine? Are we confused?
Now, that's our appellate attorney on the plaintiff side. That's he has an unfortunate face. It's true, but he's a very, very intelligent appellate attorney.
Oh,
His name is Mr.
okay.
Elegant, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I make fun of so
It's
no,
all
I
right. You
don't.
can make fun of anyone you want here. We're full on ridicule safe here. Yes, and there was a press conference yesterday. I am going to show it, but I do want to get to the Hitler defense first, because I think it's a really bad sign when you have
Well,
to
I was
invoke
on.
Hitler to help your
I would.
client in
I'm on
any
the
way.
Charlie Adelson case where they were trying to dress up the little boys as, the struggling Austrian painter youth. So, what are you gonna do?
I don't know
The
anything
Jewish
about that case.
boys, to make sure
Uh-huh.
that the dad didn't get them, they were gonna dress them up as Hitler youth.
Okay, that's
For
bizarre. This defense that Altenburn comes up with is so bizarre.
You know, why it is that I think we need to have more on foreseeability if we're using the substantial factor test, and explain in a little more detail why I still believe that's a mistake. Because tell your ruling in open court earlier here, I had at least assumed that we were making a substantial factor, meaning irresistible impulse. And so it won't take me long to do it, but I need to try to do that.
Sure. Go ahead.
You want me to do that now? I'm happy.
Might as well.
Okay, so I've cited the cases we've discussed before and taken quotes out of them. And so in describing these, the case law always goes into the importance that there's qualitatively something different about foreseeability here, as well as causation of suicide. And while I don't actually, I've gone through a laundry list of options with you, all of which have been rejected about what the intent should be. But we're down basically now to the remaining irresistible impulse is more or less the same language that the plaintiffs requested initially out of Nelson. Nelson is under FELA, minimal negligence language, but it's the only thing we have in Florida. So if we're going to use that, I've tried to put this in here in the context of a tort that is designed to only hit suicide on the rarest of circumstances, which FELA law is if there's any negligence, you win. So that language has been adjusted there. But the problem with the substantial factor test, and I was thinking about this last night, but
here it comes.
As an example, I have an uncle, Edward Gamm, Mondayman, Iowa. He was a good Catholic. He was a husband. He had 2 boys. And many years ago, he committed suicide. He had been on a crew of a bomber that got shot down over Germany during the Second World War. And Adolf Hitler's army put him in a concentration camp for an extended period of time. He did not commit suicide until many years thereafter. But I will tell you right now that I believe that Adolf Hitler's army was a substantial factor in the suicide of my uncle. And I will believe that viscerally until the day I die. That's an emotional feeling on my part. And maybe somewhat moral feeling on my part.
Somewhat? A somewhat more. He's right. You're right, sir. You're right that yes, the Nazi army and Hitler was responsible for a lot of atrocities. And to say that it's a somewhat moral position I have that I will blame them for the rest of my existence. What? He's actually now going to say, but Hitler would have gotten away with it under Florida law. And so should Johns Hopkins. I'm not kidding.
It's not a
Wait,
legal
like
duty, and
Scooby-Doo?
the reason that
I mean, I'm not trying to be a ding dong here, but most people believe that Hitler was a bad guy. I don't think that's not a bad
This is
thing.
not controversial at all.
This
No.
is not.
No, but the idea though that like Florida law statute, I guess, is so bad according to Altenberg that you couldn't hold Hitler himself responsible for the suicide of his uncle, which is terribly tragic. I am not laughing at that. I agree with him that I think Hitler is responsible for that. Absolutely. But he's trying to make the argument that Florida law would not support that. And so because Florida law wouldn't even convict Hitler, John Shopkins can't be held accountable. What? This is the worst argument ever.
Did his uncle's wife sue Hitler? I mean, I guess this is.
Someone should have.
Well, I mean, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but this is a fairly dubious claim. But if no one has tried to sue Hitler, how do you know that Florida wouldn't have been able to
Well,
charge him?
actually, the judge
I'm
actually
not a
says
lawyer.
the judge actually says, I disagree with you. I think that under Florida law, we could have held him responsible. It's the craziest conversation. We got to keep going because you won't even believe where this goes.
we have made suicide something that we place the duty upon the person who does it, that we make it an independent intervening cause, is because there are many public policy reasons to do that. The legislature hasn't recognized this tort, and so far the appellate courts of Florida have not. And there are reasons we do that because, again, I checked last night, the CDC estimates that in 2022, there were nearly, I think it was 3,400 suicides in Florida. I guarantee you that at least 2,000 of those families who lost a loved one will tell you that they're not going to tell you, well, it was all his fault. He did it. It was an independent intervening cause, and it's all over. As human beings, the first thing we think about when someone commits suicide is, Well, what caused that? What was the trigger? Why did Mr. Bill do that? And that's, I think, good therapy for us to try to search for those things. And as from a preventative standpoint, something that the government should work on to try to keep people from committing suicide. But, you know, the Kowalskis clearly think that DCF was a substantial factor. They think our client was a substantial factor. They even probably think that Judge Hayward was a substantial factor. And I'll tell you clearly on the record that Judge Hayward played absolutely no part whatsoever in what we're dealing with in this case.
Beata hugging her child.
But if we have an instruction that goes to the jury and, you know, that says on the verdict form, we've modified this, that the
Wes. It's true. Hitler was never given an imminent jeopardy rating. J. Hatch is worse.
Good night, nurse. I mean,
I feel like I'm going to get in really big trouble for this stream. I'm not allowed to laugh at Hitler. No one's allowed to laugh at Hitler jokes. Stop it, chat. Stop making me laugh at this.
This just, what is it? Godwin's law to the nth degree. Like, we should have started with Amber Heard's "My dog stepped on a bee." Like, okay, so if you run over your friend because your dog steps on a bee, do we blame the bee? No, we can't sue the bee under Florida law. Okay. There we go.
But we can sue Hitler, according to the judge. Look, now he's paging through his notes. Where was I going with this Hitler story? Where was I going?
I just
Where was I going?
Did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, through the intentional or reckless acts of its employees, engage in conduct was sufficiently extreme and outrageous that it caused Beata Kowalski, excuse me, I'm reading the wrong one, that did the employees commit extreme and outrageous conduct that was the legal cause of severe emotional distress that was sufficient to be a substantial factor in Beata Kowalski's suicide? If we ask the jury that, just like the 2,000 families who have to believe that it was something else that at least something was a substantial factor, that's the analysis they go through. That isn't the law now. It shouldn't be the law. And so I believe that we should not give this, but if we do, we need to emphasize at least that for the law, this has to be something that's foreseeable, where the person can say while they're doing the conduct, yeah, you know what, this could cause him to commit suicide. So what? That's reckless disregard. But unless we have something very, very strong on this, when we give them this thing on the verdict form, they're going to do exactly what those 2,000 families did last year in Florida. And we'll have lawsuits down the road, not just this one now, that's the first in Florida. We'll have lots of lawsuits about this if this becomes a law. So I want a jury instruction that's as strong as possible, at least, even though frankly, I guess if one is weaker, it's better for me on appeal. But
I wanted to say Hitler in it.
Get one that's as strong as possible.
Yeah, someone find that
Mr.
man.
Elliott, on
dig him up.
the comments that Mr. Altenberg just made, any response?
I'm a little unclear. Was that going to the part that talks about the second test you will apply?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Even the
I don't think we have a problem with the wording of the paragraph that starts the second test. I have some issues with some of the stuff above.
I guess I'm talking about the more generalized comments that Mr. Altenberg, before we get to the specific language. I mean, he's looking at this and his argument was at the conceptual level.
Well, yeah, we talked about that before, and I mean, there's some things
Hitler here,
that I would do differently. I mean, we had talked about whether it could be a rational decision or not, and that's not in here, and I'm not going to ask for that. I mean, I suspect we've all been either families or friends that have been touched by suicide, and it's a tragic situation, and it's but I think here, I mean, the jury will decide if it was a factor or not, and I don't think it's automatic. I mean, it'll be based on everything they've heard. So The way the verdict form is going to be broken down, we'll have to see what the exact questions are, but there's going to be one question for the irresistible impulse, and there's going to be one question for the substantial factor. And so later on, and I think you already said this yesterday, later on, if the appellate court decides it's one and not the other, then they'll have the guidance to sort through that. So.
Well, let me just make a couple of observations about Mr. Altenburn's comments, and then we'll get to the specific language. What I'm hearing Mr. Altenburn effectively make is basically a slippery slope that we're going to open up the floodgates to and basically energize a previously almost dormant cause of action. And under that cause of action, we'll now recognize a whole panoply of situations that previous to today, Florida law didn't recognize. I think I just want to push back and disagree with the fundamental premise. First, we're talking about intentional conduct, not negligent conduct. The case law already builds in a check on the issue of whether the conduct itself is appropriate for taking it to the jury. As we all know, under the Stedman case from the second DCA, the element of outrage is an issue of law. And I think that's a very important safety valve in the intentional infliction of emotional distress, because it allows the trial judge right at the beginning of the case on a motion to dismiss can weed out any claim that does not rise or doesn't plead facts such that the conduct does not meet the intentional standard, the outrage standard. For instance, when I was assigned to the parents of the Gabby Petito versus the parents of Brian Laundrie case, the very first motion that I heard was a motion to dismiss the intentional infliction of emotional distress on a claim that the facts did not rise to the level. And obviously I disagreed and I denied the motion to dismiss, but the point is the check of the emotional or the conduct is something that the court can address right off the bat. You don't have to do any discovery on it, and it doesn't open up floodgates. So I just would push back, because I think the existing case law already builds in the protection against what Mr. Altenburn is effectively trying to argue. Now, it breaks my heart to hear what happened to your uncle, Mr. Altenburn, and there are countless number of families, both in that war and other wars where there's just brutality. I actually would consider what Adolf Hitler did to be probably the most outrageous I've ever seen in recorded history.
I think we all would.
I think his conduct would qualify under Florida's intentional infliction of emotional distress. And, under a substantial factors test, I think your uncle perhaps would have had a cause of action against the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler. But that is besides the point.
Well, I can see a lot of lawsuits starting now.
Oh, I'm not laughing at Altenburn's uncle. It's a terrible thing, but I think the judge is right. I think, yes, if our laws don't cover Hitler for emotional distress, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and then who the hell do they cover? If the laws do not hold someone like Hitler accountable, who do they hold accountable?
I mean, Hitler, John Hopkins, that guy who didn't unalive himself, those people on the list of the guy who flew his plane to that island that never happened,
All right, so that's the end of the Hitler defense that just fell flat. It just, just crash and burn, did not work. But good, points to Altenburn for attempting the emotional tugging of the heartstrings on that one, because that was that was pretty good. It's pretty good, but it didn't work. All right. The next thing we have to talk about, though, is the connection between Judge Carroll and former appellate judge Altenburn, who is now a practicing attorney. And
Okay.
in front of him, this is a truly bizarre coincidence. But hold on, how do I spell Altenburn?
Now,
A-L-T Altenburn. I think this is it.
Altenburn is Old Man River, who was just talking about Hitler, correct?
Yes. Now, he is a
Okay.
former appellate court judge in Florida. And it turns out that here it is, that he was the judge who opined when Hunter Carroll, who is Judge Carroll, was 16 years old and in front of him in court and during a custody dispute. And
Mhm.
Altenburn was the judge on the case. And we're going to read through that because it's really sad, but it gets us to know. I'm not doing this this is public. It's not like I dug it up and paid for it or something. It's public opinion. But it's kind of amazing that these two men have had this encounter where I guess Judge Carroll had what he considered to be an abusive or neglectful father, and he actually went to court so that he would not have to see him. And Altenburn decided the appeal. This was back in 1992, appeal from the Circuit Court of Sarasota County. Jane Carroll, the former wife of Ira Carroll Sr., appeals a supplemental final judgment which temporarily suspended child support based upon her 16-year-old son, Hunter Carroll, refusing to visit his father, Mr. Carroll. Although we sympathize with a trial judge dealing with an almost impossible situation, we reversed that portion of the judgment, suspending the father's child support obligation, concluding that the non-custodial parent's child support obligation does not cease upon the child refusing to visit the non-custodial parent. So the first trial judge had said because Judge Carroll was refusing to see his father, that the father no longer had to pay child support, and Altenburn reversed that order and ordered his father to pay anyway. A review of this court file reflects that for 6 years following a final judgment of dissolution of marriage, there has been bitter strife between Mr. and Mrs. Carroll over Mr. Carroll's rights of visitation with their 3 children. 2 things happened to involve this court. The first was that the party's 16-year-old child, that would be Hunter, Judge Carroll, filed a motion through his mother's attorney to have the trial judge terminate the requirement that he visit his father. The trial court granted the son's motion. The next thing to occur was that the trial court, on its own motion, terminated Mr. Carroll's child support obligation for that child on a temporary basis until visitation was reinstituted. We recognize the dilemma of the trial judge and quote from his order denying Mrs. Carroll's motion for a rehearing. The former wife's position is that the court erred in tying a child support obligation to a visitation issue. Ordinarily, the former wife would be correct. And as a general rule, it is clear that both Chapter 61 and the apposite case law provide that child support cannot be conditioned upon visitation. However, the instant case defies, in many ways, the general rule. It would serve no useful purpose, except for appellate review, to expend the labor necessary to fully lay out the post-judgment etiology of this case. The file speaks for itself. By the time the temporary visitation order was entered in the fall of last year, the parties and the child in question had reached a point justifying not only a temporary cessation of visitation, but also support for that child. Hunter Carroll and his father had become adversaries in about every sense of the word. They had escalated their enmity to the point of physical confrontation. This is so sad. This makes it so sad, but I think it's so important to understand that Judge Carroll has a deep understanding of how family courts work and how judges can control your life. And I think we are seeing why Judge Carroll is such a good judge, why we have seen him be so even-handed, be so in control of his emotions, and try so hard to give both sides an equal hearing. because his life was unfairly impacted by a judge who decided that his father no longer had to pay for him because he was denied, he didn't want to see him anymore. Which of course at 16, you're if you're an abusive and neglectful parent, you don't get out of it just because the kid doesn't want to see you. You still have to pay. It's still your kid.
Yeah, and I think when you go through that and you see how especially a lot of judges, a lot of I mean, these family courts are packed. They're, just wanting to get you through. They don't listen to the kids. I'm sure he seems very bright, and he was probably a bright kid.
Oh, it says
It
that
says
in
yeah,
this order. It's amazing. It says it. And here, the thing about this that kills me is that this case must be really hard for him because reading those dependency orders, like he's been in that court. He's been in that family court system where his life was at the whim of a judge. And how amazing that this kid grows up to become this judge. And in this case, it's like fate. Listen to how awesome this is. Hunter referred to his father, and this is just it's sad, but also what a this kid is amazing. This judge is amazing. Hunter referred to his father as Mr. Carroll. Oh no, I'm frozen. All right, Mo, do you know about this? Do you know about what happens when I freeze?
no.
You have to take over the show for 3 minutes.
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
I'll be back,
That's
okay?
right, that's a
Just
great
talk to the
idea.
just talk to the chat.
Oh,
I'll
would
be
you
back.
like me to continue reading, or would you like me to just
It's gonna go
talk?
off this.
Oh, okay. Well, I can talk. So, what I do, I am Mo from Mo in the Deep End. I am your friendly neighborhood Midwestern, mom with 6 kids who decided to join the internet for reasons. Uh, Look, think of, your great Aunt Edith with a jitterbug. That's generally my level of tech experience. I am learning to, do all the YouTubey things. I've been on YouTube since April. Um, I do 2 shows in the day, about an hour long of current events and court trials and things like that. So, 9 AM and 7 PM, we do Newsy News with my puppy sidekick, Fry, um, who is he's a great puppy, but as per, Futurama lore, he is his own grandfather, so he's a little special, but we love him anyways because he was supposed to be a Pomsky, and he is not a Pomsky. Um, I am currently, when I'm not here doing this stuff, I was helping Nicholas on the Charlie Adelson case, and, we were just going through the cluster F that was that. Charlie was, "Oh, you're back early. It's not 3 minutes."
Awesome. Keep going. You can keep talking.
"Oh, well, that's okay." So I do Newsy News at 9 AM and 7 PM. Thank you so much. Well, so it's naturally blonde, but I dye it red to let everyone know I'm slightly crazy. It's like nature, I bright colors.
Just like poison frogs so that
Yes.
everyone knows. That makes sense. All right, where was I here? Let's see. They had
Um,
escalated their enmity to the point of physical confrontation. Hunter referred to his father as Mr. Carroll and indicated no respect whatsoever for him. Hunter actively resisted visitation with his father and, in fact, was the movant himself in the motion to terminate visitation. Hunter Carroll is a very sophisticated, bright, articulate 16-year-old boy who has, as he so forcefully points out, reached an age of discretion which all but ensures that if he doesn't want to have meaningful visitation, it simply will not occur. He believes he has been driven to this emotional juncture by his father's behavior. The father believes his son's attitude is a byproduct of the poisonous relationship between him and his former wife, who is the custodial parent. Whatever the truth, it appears to the court that where a child of sufficient maturity and intellect and discretion moves to terminate visitation, and where the motion is granted, This conduct justifies the suspension of support on a temporary basis. Of course, support will be automatically and immediately reinstated once visitation recommences. And now this is what Altenburn responds to that. We first note that this record contains no findings by the trial judge that Mrs. Carroll orchestrated her son's motion to terminate visitation. We do not have to address today what this court's position would be if that were the case. Although Mr. Carroll feels strongly that the wife and maternal grandparents have caused these problems, the trial judge made no such findings. Florida statutes do provide a remedy for a non-custodial parent who is denied his or her visitation rights by the custodial parent. Both natural parents share a duty to support a minor child, even though the trial court under Section 6113 may order either or both parents to pay child support upon dissolution of the marriage. Thus, if this animosity had developed between the father and child while the parents were still married, the father still would have a duty to support his family, including Hunter. This court has recognized that ordinarily, if a parent supports his child, he has the right to visit that child. However, this court has further recognized that there are instances where a former spouse has a duty of support when visitation would not be advisable for various sociological, psychiatric, and other reasons. The Third District Court has recognized that the trial court cannot condition visitation upon the payment of support, but can limit or prevent visitation in the best interest of the child. The trial court relied upon two cases entering its order. We recognize that in Putnam v. Putnam, the Supreme Court affirmed a trial court's order suspending support where a 16-year-old child refused to comply with the terms of visitation. However, we believe subsequent changes enacted in Chapter 61 Florida statutes have overruled the ruling in Putnam. We also recognize that there is a language in Riley v. Connor which states that there may be conduct on the part of the child who has reached an age of discretion of such disrespectful and contumacious character, oh, that's the word of the day, contumacious, directed toward the obligor parent, which justifies the temporary suspension of the duty of support. Unlike the Fifth District Court, we are unwilling to say that conduct by a child not shown to be orchestrated by one of the parents should relieve a parent of his or her duty to support the child. This seems to punish only the other parent's ability to pay for that child's needs. And they just quote the statute. The all too familiar tragedy in this case is, as stated by the guardian ad litem, that this appears to be a classic case of parental strife affecting the dependent children. The children are always the losers. Instead of two parents working with one another and their child to deal with his concerns regarding visitation, we have instead the young man employing an attorney to file motions which require court resolution. And throughout this scenario, quality time between a child and his father is being lost, which can never be replaced. The parents also should consider the effect this may have upon the other children. While fully understanding the trial court's attempt to do equity to this case, we reverse and remand with directions for the trial court to order payment of all the suspended child support payments. Signed, Judge Altenburn and Judge Lehan. Wow. So that opinion really actually made me cry the first time I read it, and I feel like I'm getting choked up now because it's true. Divorce court and all of this stuff, it's always a lose-lose for the children. And yeah, he got this ball rolling for himself at the age of 16. And I think it's interesting that when he was 16 years old, Judge Altenburn is telling forever on the record what an articulate, mature, bright young man this was. And now today, he stood in front of that articulate, bright man and was overruled, was shot down by this young man. You know, it really does. It's got me tearing up. It's awesome. It's just awesome what happened here.
You know, look, I don't know how religious you are, and I'm religious, you know. Like I said, go to Steve Gosney for a good Christian person. But this has to be, these are like what I would say God moments. So, you
Right?
know, like God puts you in these places sometimes, just all these things stacked together, and it never really makes sense. And then one day all these things come together and it's just this one moment and all these stacks make sense. And, it
I think you're
that
absolutely right. It is like a God moment, and it's amazing to just see. Yes, Judge Carroll's first name is Hunter. Yes, it's amazing to see this grand coincidence, if you can even call it that. It seems like a design, doesn't it? Where
yeah.
Mr. Altenburn was in control at one point of what would happen to Judge Carroll. And right now, Judge Carroll is now in control of what is going to happen with Mr. Altenburn's case. And I think that both of them must have a pretty deep respect for the other. It looks like Altenburn overturned an unfair ruling that was affecting Judge Carroll's life in a really bad way. And he might have been the inspiration for Judge Carroll to become a judge, to be a judge like he saw Judge Altenburn at that moment, which was, wow, a judge can do bad things, but another judge can reverse those bad things and do really good things. I would love to ask the judge if that was the case, because how it's this is so nuts.
Well, also to feel small, to feel humbled, to feel powerless, that is a great motivator of some people take that and they wanna get power and then they wanna lord it over. They want to become, the weapon and go destruct. And then some people feel that and then they want to become the shield and to protect. And it's very interesting how people choose to do that. And I like that he's, decided to use his power to protect, to be equal, to, really have a positive effect, to take everything in and, be a good judge about it
Isn't
because
that
it
something? And we've had seen so few great judges. Like Judge Carroll's been one of my favorites, and now having this backstory and this history on him is like it's even better because sometimes I lose faith in the justice system. I lose faith in these people who become judges, and I think that they're all assholes. And then you come across one like Judge Carroll, who's not only not an asshole, he's literally every day of he is trying to apply the law as the law is, not as the law he wants it to be. Even when he disagrees with it, he's right there applying it. He's done that in this case. This is the kind of man you want as a judge. This and now we know why. And isn't that something? It's just to me, I heard that today, by the way. I got the tip on that from Recovery at Extreme. He kind of told the story, but he didn't have the order. And I went and looked it up and I couldn't even believe it. I was standing in my kitchen crying. All right, enough crying. The women are just I have 80% women watching the stream, and now everyone's bawling. We need to stop now and get back to the funny memes. Um,
that's
because
okay. If yeah, Facebook's get to me sometimes. It's like, God dang it, the puppy with like the cat and then it's got the little wheelchair and I'm like, "Oh, for the love of all that's holy."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're women. We cannot help ourselves. So sometimes we start crying for no reason. I'm sure Judge Carroll would be laughing at us crying over this his 16-year-old motion. He probably thinks it's a great troll. He was like, "Yeah, I filed my first motion when I was 16 and I won." That's pretty impressive. It's impressive. Look at this. Okay, locals, you're killing me. This is the this is the new Shopkin, the updated ultimate collector's guide of Shopkins. We have the
Oh,
Shopkins,
no.
the Shopkins Nazis at Johns Shopkins Hospital. Thank you for that. All right, the last thing we're going to do today, and then I'm going to call it a day because I do have to work today. Um, I want to watch the press conference, but where the heck did it go?
Well, actually, I have to get going because I am mom taxi duties.
Gotcha.
It was wonderful to be here.
It was
I
wonderful to have
love
you.
thank you. I have to go yell at kids, to do homework that would take 5 minutes if they just did it in 5 minutes, but now it'll be an hour and a half. You
Of
know,
course. Of course. I totally get you. Thank you so much for coming. Everybody,
Thank you for
please
having me.
go and subscribe to Mo in the Deep End. And I hope you'll come back, Mo. I hope you'll come back.
Yes.
I would like to talk about this more, and having someone who actually has experience with CRPS is just it's invaluable. And unlike that court reporter or court TV clunt that we were talking about earlier, unlike her, I actually have an interest in talking to people with the syndrome so
Yeah.
that I can really fully understand what's going on here.
Yeah, it's it took over my life for a long time, and now I'm trying to live with it and not have it live with me. But I will say yeah, she should have just asked someone, and they should have just been not dicks. But they're they're buttholes, and
Well,
that's what
the
buttholes
chat
do.
on Locals made something for you. So before you
Oh.
go, this is their gift to you that they have been working on in the sweatshops of my locals. Let's see. Can we bring it up here? Or is
Oh
my
my gosh, I
Can
love
you see
it.
it?
It is my favorite thing ever. It's the best thing I've ever seen. Christmas has come early. We didn't get the asteroid of death yet, but
This is for you.
I love it. That's the best thing ever.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Thank you, sweatshops
Thank
of
you so much.
locals for making the memes with no pay. In fact, they pay
Thank you,
me.
guys.
They pay me to make me memes. It's
Oh,
incredible. I
well,
don't know how
this is amazing. I don't know how I just made my first meme yesterday, I think. I don't know. Look, the guy from the Charlie Adelson case looks just like Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers, so I just put his face on Cousin Larry. Depending on how greasy his hair he's kinda looks like Balky too, so I mean,
Balky.
I know, it's Cousin
Oh
Larry,
my
and,
god, that's a reference I haven't thought of in a long time.
oh, I know, I need to go watch some show, but have a wonderful rest of your day. I
Wait,
will
there's
have
one
nightly
more.
newsy new
There's one more.
Oh my god, I need that. Oh, yeah, she gave both of my middle fingers erections last night, she really did.
Nice. All right,
Have a
you go,
wonderful
you
day.
taxi
Thank
dude.
you.
Thank you so much for
Bye,
coming. Go
guys.
in the Deep End. Get over there. Subscribe. Subscribe. See you later. All right. Let's see. Oh my god, you guys, I'm catching up on all the memes. I can't even believe it. Where is the I'm looking for the presser. There it is. Thank you, Nick. All right. All right, we're going to watch yesterday. Greg Anderson gave a press release, and then we're going to call it a day because I have to work and I need to finish up some laundry. So I need to go and actually get some wife stuff done. I got chili going in the crock pot though. So that's cool. I love it when I already have dinner solved and I've been doing nothing all day.
Thanks for waiting, guys. All right. Well, we got to stop meeting like this. All right. Anybody have any questions? But yeah, go give me your name and spell it so that we get it correct. Hi, I'm Gregory Anderson, GregoryAnderson.
So, Mr. Anderson, can you tell us how you feel about the defense resting their case today?
To me, it was sort of anticlimactic. I never saw in their case anything other than nipping around the edges of ours. And strangely, I think their case, it seems like they just gave up on liability, and now they're trying to take the fact that Maya's not in the hospital right now and argue that somehow they're responsible for it, which, since she's had a number of episodes since this time, I think that tells the tale.
Can you explain a little bit more about dropping the liability, what you mean by that?
Well, they have no psychiatrist or psychologist that came in and testified about their allegations to support their allegations. They basically took some speculation by some doctors before Maya was diagnosed with CRPS, and they tried to turn that into an opinion, but that's not an expert opinion. And so without the right experts, I can't see where they're going. They had a couple of good liability experts, but I don't think they scored any points because they really had never examined Maya. They'd never interviewed her. And some of their opinions were so far afield from ours and the treating physicians that I don't think they made that much impact.
What is it that you want mostly for the jury to understand?
Just how unbelievably difficult this was for the Kowalski family. And the fact that they stood up for their rights to treat their own child with the best knowledge they could, with every bit of information they could, and they made the right choices. And so the things that happened to them at Johns Hopkins are beyond belief, absolutely beyond belief, but we've proved them over and over again. And I think everyone should realize how much courage it takes to go 5 years of litigation. Maya gave 5 depositions. Jack gave 5 depositions. Let's think about that for a second. Most people give 1, maybe 2. This thing has gone on forever. It's a blessing we got it to trial. Our trial judge did a superb job getting us to trial, pushing it to trial, because they deserve justice, and maybe they'll find it here.
On the topic of Judge Carroll, he's been, as you said, very adamant about keeping things on schedule.
Yeah.
He's also at times been critical of both you and the defense in regards to timing, in regards to getting exhibitions prepped. Are you at all worried, especially given the time constraints, that you'll be able to get your rebuttal through as much as you need to?
Oh, sure. We will, because he told me I had just 2.5 hours. So are making sure that we're getting it done in 2.5 hours. Judge Carroll runs a tight courtroom, and that's good. And he has his way of doing things. And if you're not going to do it his way, well, he's going to let you know. But he's no different than most judges, especially in a high pressure, challenging case like this. So we're very confident we'll get our rebuttal in, but we really don't believe we need that much rebuttal. Our case was solid from the start. With the kind of experts we have, I'm very confident.
With the video depositions, as you said, we saw there the defense play snippets of them, very short.
Exactly.
With Maya saying,
God, I never noticed before how much he looks like Harrison Ford. He even has the scar on his chin. This is I know you guys have said this before, but I'm just now seeing it, and it's really it's something. I wonder if he tells people that he got into a knife fight in Detroit, and that's how he got that.
I'm okay right now. Can you just talk and reiterate to people with the disease that Maya has, chronic regional pain syndrome?
Sure.
At times she can be okay.
Well, there's a base level of pain, but when you're in that much pain at different times, it becomes sort of, it's not as noticeable as a normal person, really. You develop a high tolerance for it. CRPS patients always have a little bit of pain, but it does come and go. And this is one of the elusive and frankly frustrating things about the disease, is that you can feel great one day and then for 4 days not want to get out of bed. And Maya's testified to that over and over and over again. And over the course of 5 depositions, they took the ones out of 5 where she was doing well, and took snippets out of that as though to portray that that was Maya's life after Johns Hopkins. And it's simply not the case. She went in, she almost died in one relapse, and Arnold Palmer's Children's Hospital had to go and had a feeding tube, and the photographs of her there and the amount of weight she lost
They wouldn't let that
she
in.
was in so much pain she couldn't eat are just horrifying. And the jury's seen those. So
The jury did see that?
it's a shame that they didn't put
didn't
more of
talk
her
about
on,
it.
but I understand why they did it tactically. It's about the only thing they could do.
After 5 years, has this become more than just a case for you?
It's a quest. it's become a quest. It has dominated every facet of my life, my wife's life, our firm, and the Kowalskis. This is, I think, would be one of the first times anybody's ever won one of these cases, and we've been very much aware of that. It's an incredible challenge, and it's a take no prisoners defense, where they attack things over and over and over again. They want the same discovery over and over and over again, and it tends to dominate your life. I've been through cases like this. I've had a lot of big cases in my life. I'd say this one has been the most difficult from the litigation, the pure litigation aspect of it, the controversies that didn't need to happen but happened.
And then lastly, as we move into this afternoon where the judge will talk with you all about directed verdicts, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts?
Well, the defense's case, I thought in many aspects supported ours. There were a lot of witnesses I was frankly very surprised they put on, because it sounded great for us from my perspective. I don't have too many worries. Judge Carroll has his own ideas about things. We feel confident, having survived directed verdicts on all of our counts at the close of our case, that we'll survive them this time. And we may move for
Locals, your new assignment, your new meme assignment is Mr. Anderson as Indiana Jones after the Holy Grail, the 200 million from J Hatch. That's your new assignment, locals. Get on it. Get off my plane.
some on our for us as well.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You should be able to get plenty of good screen grabs from that, from those close-ups in the last couple of minutes there. I don't know where Shapiro's is, and I don't really care right now. Let's save some more for tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be, I'm going to be covering the trial live tomorrow. We're getting the executive from the hospital, getting dragged into court and deposed. So I want to be there for that live. So let's save Shapiro's statements for like during a break or something. Christy says, I'm not saying he's the real Indiana Jones, but I've never seen them in the same place. It's true. We haven't. All right. I'm going to get to the super chats that I missed, and I missed a bunch of them. So and I missed Venmos and Cash Apps. So we're going to do that now, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay. Wow, I missed a lot, you guys. I am so sorry. I don't normally miss this many all at, but I don't normally have guests either. So it's hard for me to do both. All right. Duncan, Idaho, thanks for the super chat, says locals only takes 10%, don't they? Yet they don't take it as much as Google does. It's not much. I don't know what it is, but it's not much. Joe Kelly, thanks for the $10, says only way to fly under hubby Scrooge's radar to do super chats. I gotcha. Terry, Patriot Grandma, you're hilarious. Love the coverage. This case is so important. Poor Maya and her family. Thank you for that, Terry. I appreciate that. Duncan, Idaho again. Why do court TV and Law and Crime have monopolies on trial coverage? How could they be shouldered out of those coveted positions? I've had this conversation with Nikki Rackets multiple times, and it's really expensive to elbow them out of the way. You have to have very deep pockets to get that the right to film, and only one network gets it, and then that network, I don't know, other networks pay them to carry it. And it's like a whole thing. Nick Rekieta could tell you about it. He knows, he's looked into it. But they have a monopoly because they're a big corporation and they have deep pockets, and that's how they do it. But they don't have a monopoly on the truth, and they don't have a monopoly on who can watch and report on these trials, which is what we have taken from their cold, dead grasp, and we've shaken it loose. And that's why they hate us so much. And that's why LawTube is feared, really, by these big conglomerates, because we're taking their audience. And the reason we're taking their audience is because we tell the truth. We show people, and we have real reactions. We don't push narratives. We don't We don't all agree to say the same thing and then say it. Some of us disagree with one another, and that's okay. But we're showing you what happens every day. We're not editing things for you. We're just watching it with you, and we're all we're sharing how we feel about it. So I'm going to say I don't think they're going to have a monopoly on it for long. You know, I just don't. CS Palmyra Productions, thanks for the super chat, says, don't worry, Megan, Mr. Palmyra fought, but there are more women here than you can handle. Hashtag Rage On Woman We Love from all the ladies at Palmyra Productions. SEO vibe. Thank you so much, ladies. I think you guys are hilarious. Elsie Merritt says, I think I just found a circle buddy for that new circle of hell Satan was just making for me. That was back when Mo was on the show. Hilarious. Palmyra Productions again. That better be the personal credit card and not the business one, ladies. Not like I have a say. Duncan, Idaho, as a plaintiff in this case, claiming to have CRPS, Maya is legally required to act and appear as the Christmas Carol Tiny Tim at all times. You know, there were a bunch of people on social media saying, why didn't her attorneys counsel her to stay home and off the camera during the trial? Oh, so you want her to lie? You want her to deceive you? But she's not doing that. She's just living her life the way anybody would. And if she doesn't want to be in court one day because she doesn't want to face the kind of trauma that it brings back for her, and she would rather get on her Halloween costume and go hang out with friends, then that's what she should do, damn it. If she wants to go to homecoming, that's what she should do. She's 17. She doesn't need to be in the courtroom. Her father is a plaintiff in the case, and he's been there almost every day. So she doesn't need to be there. It's not good for her mental health to be there every day. And court TV can go fuck itself with all of its nastiness that they're spewing towards Maya, towards a 17-year-old kid who's been through hell, been through things that you will never be through, that you can't even imagine. I hope to God you never go through what she went through, Julie Grant. I hope to God you never lose your kid to the state. I hope to God you never lose a parent to suicide, negligent suicide like this. Getting mad again. Getting mad. All right. Jason, thanks for the $20 super chat. As a former mechanic with limited feeling in my left leg, L5S1 is gone and disc pushes into the sciatic nerves and spinal cord. Oh, I'm so sorry. I raised 2 autistic children. Wonder how fast they come after a father like they did her mom. Not as quickly, Jason. They not with the Munchausen anyway. Although I have covered many cases where fathers were the targets of the overreaching state. So it's not unheard of. Duncan, Idaho, thanks for the super chat, says women in positions of authority. Am I right? Yeah, the Munchie Bunch, no joke. Women in positions of authority is scary. I used to be on like this all-female steering committee thing for this thing. It's not worth going into. And I think I lasted about a year before the infighting began. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't want any of this. I just somebody wanted my position. And I was like, you can have it. Feral Dragon says, I've never been so happy my daughter said no to JH for her PhD in mental health ethics. Holy shit. That could have ruined her entire career. Yeah. Nicholas Staros Trial Watch, thanks for sending the super chat for the 20-minute Mo rant. I appreciate that. Bad Weather Biker says, Megan, did you get the email I sent the other day? I still like you to have a conversation with Mrs. Bad Weather Biker. Yes, I did get it, and I'm sorry. I'm really bad at responding to my email right now because of this trial coverage. It's just been every day nonstop, and when I'm not on the computer, I'm doing all the mom things and all the work things, and so I'm sorry if I haven't responded. I will try and get back and do that. Duncan, Idaho. I just love watching Crowell, Enoch, and Hunter squirm here. Shapiro, I don't like, but I don't hate him as much. He seems more like a giant dork. He does. He's very awkward sometimes. Feral Dragon says, we need someone to do a double ANOVA comparing pediatric abuse specialists and negative outcomes, i.e. false imprisonment and false charges, etc. What is ANOVA? ANOVA. I don't know what that is, but I think this is a good idea. We need a federal investigation of it, but we don't have any feds who are not corrupt. So that's a problem. I don't know what we need, but I think we should end the feds. So I don't know if I can call for a federal investigation of anything. Jacob says all those meme workers doing hand jobs to make that. Palmyra Production says, I'm only bringing this up because I know you'll drive yourself crazy. Crazy later, but 15 minutes after Mo came in, I knew you would never get to Super Chats, Cash App, etc. I proved you wrong. I'm doing it right now. Not never, just later. Ghostery says, Mo was amazing. Thank you for having her on. She was amazing, and I'm so glad she came. Make sure you go and subscribe to her. Conversion disorder, says Night Owl, is the modern word for hysteria, people. Yeah. So is Munchausen, by the way. Same thing. Kelly Waller says, I think it's okay because both case and chief have rested. Oh, yes, you're right. So the question in the chat that I had highlighted and didn't bring up first was, is it a good idea to have a press conference before the case is finished? And Kelly responded and said, yes, because the case in chief has rested. That's true. Once the defense rests and the plaintiff is rested, there is, you can have a press conference. The jury's not supposed to be watching the news. So Horse Welfare says, these memes are hilarious. Shout out to Locals. And if you're not on Locals, meganfox.locals.com, you should be, because the memes there are absolutely hysterical. I mean, hysterical. I can't even share. I can't share how many there are over there today. Locals has really become what I always wanted it to be. And it's just been so fun. Oh my God, you've already done the Holy Grail? Wait, they've already done it. Oh my God. All right, I gotta share this one. Oh, I hope I have room. Please, God, let it upload. Ugh. All right, I'll share the screen instead. There we go. All right, this is what Locals is working on right now. They're refining the Indiana Jones meme for me as we speak. Anderson as Indiana Jones. The best. I love it. All right, I'm going over to Rumble to see if there are any rants over there. Rumble are where the pores are. So the real pores. We're the medium pores over on YouTube, and the real pores are over on Rumble. Uh-oh, I didn't have the extension open. I hope I didn't miss any. I missed 2 of Slidey Pies yesterday. Did I miss any today, guys? Tell me if I did, because I'm looking and I don't see any. But that doesn't mean I didn't have the extension open, so I might not have caught them all. All right, let me get over to Cash App now. Where's Cash App? All right, Cash App. Jericho, thank you for sending the $5 Cash App. Says, for kids' generation is F Gumps. F Gumps? Jenny! I don't get it. I know it's a Forrest Gump reference, but I'm not sure I get it. And I got my cat's an a-hole, right? Yeah, that was yesterday. Okay, moving over to Venmo. All right, I didn't miss any Venmos. Let me check PayPal real quick while you guys enjoy the meme. Nope, I'm all caught up. Okay, great. Excellent. All right. Well, guys, today was fun. We got all caught up. We had a guest. We did all kinds of things. And I will see you tomorrow. We are going to be doing the same thing tomorrow, covering court. It should be really interesting. The judge has ordered that the defense turn over all the records, and they're going to drag in somebody from that executive committee at Johns Hopkins, and the lawyers are going to get to depose them, and it's going to be fantastic. So you guys take care. Go take care of your families. Make something good for dinner, and I'll see you later. I'm going to work in a little bit. So where's my show end? There it is. All right, everybody, don't forget to follow me, meganfox.locals.com. You'll get all your notifications there. Take care, everybody.
I was lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna stay. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. This time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. In my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna stay. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've
problem
seen
is he
Tamara
should
and
come
Johnny's bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yeah.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall when
and
we
some
went
holy
into
water.
Mr. Judson's
cross,
first
a crucifix
bedroom?
on
No.
May the
Do you
power of
recall,
Christ
or no, you
compel you.
No, I don't.
You
believe so.
realize
Just
this house
covered
was infested with
just up for
succubuses.
that.
And
There's a photo here with you of what it, yes. Do you
Suck
recall
you
while that was there
loaders.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
Oh my god.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why
for
he wanted to
unknown
drown her.
Glacis, and that is
Witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Vasquez.